Oh, no, 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 no. Hey, y'all. It's me. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. It's Jake Johnson on Untethered Live on a Wednesday night. It's Hump Day. How's everybody doing out there? My ears are clogged up and I can't tell if I'm live. Can you hear me? Can't hear anything coming out of these things. Am I on? Can you hear me? Is this thing on? I think it is. I think I'm just deaf. I took an Epsom salt bath last night and my ears got clogged up, so I have no idea what I sound like. So there you go. Mr. P, you're first in chat. How you doing, buddy? He says, nothing but love for you all. Let's have a good night tonight. Yes, let's have a good night tonight. You'll notice there's a couple of links in the chat. There's a link to a ball cap and a shirt that's new in the store. I don't know if it's in the little thing down below yet or not. It may take a while for it to get there. But you can follow those links and go check them out. They're just a first draft. Don't get excited. It's just a placeholder. I'm working on a really nice one with some detail and some pictures and stuff and other texts. Anyway, it's coming. Just give it a minute. Things go slow here at Studio C. But you get the gold star, Mr. P, for being first in chat. You can put it on your mantelpiece next to your Golden Globes. It'll be lovely. You can tell all your grandchildren how you got that star in the war back in the day. Saving all your platoon members or something. Or, just say a retard on the internet threw it at me. Either way, here's your gold star. Amanda says, hi, Mr. P. And hi, Untethered Live family. Good to see you all. Happy Hump Day, Camel. I hope everyone is doing good. Hiya, Jake. How are you tonight? Well rested and full. I had a nice, big, fat plate of spaghetti for dinner tonight. It was delicious with some garlic bread and some banana peppers, and yep, that was good. Aaron's here. What's up, Aaron? Good to see you, buddy. He says something in hieroglyphics that I don't understand, but I think it's a threat. Amanda says, hi, Aaron. Live long and prosper. Peace. How you doing? And white power. I think that's what that means. They shouldn't have that in there. It's weird. Aaron says, I agree with you, and live long and prosper back at you. I'll stay as long as I can before I pass out. It's been a long day. I hear you, buddy. Me too. It wasn't really a hard day, but it was consistent all day long. Same speed. All day long, and it pouring down rain and thundering and lightning, and you know how you get when it's rainy. It was just a long day, so I totally understand. But I hope that you can stay for the duration, because I'm going to attempt to do the same thing. It's a lovely cup of coffee, though. Thank you for the people that provide the coffee for the show. Don't you want to have a nice cup of coffee with old Jake and talk about the world? If you do, go to the kitchen, pour yourself up a nice hot cup of Joe, and let's get rolling on this conversation. But if you don't have a cup, you can get one in the description below. I recommend the first one. It has my face on it. It is fantastic. It looks great on a coffee table. It holds a nice hot cup of coffee. It keeps it hot. It holds liberal tears. It looks wonderful. And if you throw it at somebody, it'll leave a mark when it hits them. So get one while supplies last. Also, like, subscribe, share, support, join, and super chats are available in the chat box if you want to show a little bit of love, if you want to throw a little clang-a-lang my way, if you want to. You can do that right there in the chat box. Also, hit that CashApp $ jakejohnsonband if you will. And one more thing. If you'd like to have a place to hang out with everybody outside of the show without old Jake looming over top of you throughout the whole thing, just a place where you can get together and share videos, pictures, texts, and chats, and keep up with all things Untethered Live Universe in one place. You can do that by visiting facebook.com/UntetheredLive Family. It's a new site. Go check it out. I think you'll love it. That's facebook.com/UntetheredLive Family, and I do appreciate you showing up for that. And thank you very much, and back to the show. All right. Amanda says, old Trump is smearing everything he can in the Democrats' faces. I think it's great. The Dems are showing their true colors now. Heartless ass people. Not all of them, but the majority of them. I agree with that. And Linda says, hi, Jake, Amanda, and Aaron. Nice to see you guys. Hi, Linda. How are you? I hope you're doing well. How's your sister? How are things? Amanda says hi, by the way. Aaron says, I hear you there. Amanda says, I hear you there, Aaron. It's been storming here. It makes you even more tired. Yeah. Aaron says, Linda, good to see you too. Right on. Patty's here. She says, hi, everybody from Tennessee. Or hi, everybody. I'm from Tennessee. Hi, everybody not from Tennessee, especially. Hi, Patty. Amanda says hi. Patty says hi, Miss Amanda. Aaron says, I'm trying to like the live, but I don't see the button. I think if you're on a phone, you can double tap the screen. If not, it's somewhere behind the chat box or at the top of the chat box or something like that. I'm not exactly sure how it works on a phone. Bill Bennett's here, and he says, hello, Untethered Live family. I hope all is well. I hope you're well, too, Bill. How you doing, buddy? Amanda says, Aaron, just double tap the phone screen. See? I thought it was something like that. Patty says, hi, Mr. Bill, and Aaron says, it doesn't work. I do not know. Amanda says, or close your chat box. It's behind it. Could be. And Amanda says, yeah, you're loud. Well, I'm supposed to be loud. I don't know what you mean. Louder than normal? I hadn't changed anything. I just can't hear. But it's still me. Hold on.
No, it's fine. You were just hollering.
Well, yeah, I do that. Okay. Patty says, hi, Jake. Hi, Patty. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Aaron says, I got it. I knew you'd figure it out. Amanda says, good man, Aaron. And Aaron says, ooh. Fab Daddy's here. He says, Mike, hey, Mike. Guess what? Guess what today is? Hump Day. You like that commercial from the 90s, don't you, Fab Daddy? What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Patty says, heck yeah. Amanda says, hi, Fab Daddy. And Fab Daddy says, hi, everybody. And Facebook, arg. Hey, I don't make the rules. I'm just trying to play by them, man. Fab Daddy says, I barely see my friends' posts when on that dang Facebook. Well, you're supposed to go to their websites and check them out. That's why we have Facebook pages. We're not supposed to come to you. You're supposed to come to us. I think that's how that works. Anyway, it's 2 posts for every 100 scrolls. Wow. I'd be deleting some people I wasn't friends with. Or at least going through and tightening it up a little bit. Patty says, remember Mr. Bill on Saturday Night Live? I do. Was it Saturday Night Live or was it In Living Color? Mr. Bill was the fire guy, right? Played by Jim Carrey. I think that was In Living Color. Fab Daddy says, oh no. And Aaron says, it's time to get some ice cream and apple pie. Simple pleasure. I got the ice cream. I do not have the apple pie, but that does sound really good. I love a good apple pie. What kind of ice cream, by the way? Just out of curiosity, because vanilla bean or cookies and cream for me all the way. I don't care for chocolate ice cream or any of the other flavors. I do kind of like that fudge swirl. That's all right. The one that's got fudge inside of vanilla bean. That's pretty good. Vanilla's always been my favorite ice cream, though. Amanda says, I see all my friends on Facebook, Fab Daddy. Put that in your little pipe and smoke it. Amanda says, yummy, Aaron. Aaron says, Fire Marshal Bill. Right on. I thought it was something like that. Amanda says, I got a Boston cream honey bun and ice cream. That sounds pretty good, too. I might have to have a bowl of ice cream when we get done. And it's all hot and muggy because it just rained. You know how it gets muggy after it rains? It's like that now. Fab Daddy says, Facebook is algorithms showing me stuff I said 5 minutes earlier. It might be. But if you go to Untethered Live family, it's not. It's just our Facebook page. And it's relatively small and does not have a lot of viewers on it, so a lot of friends. So you can get everything you want right there on the main page. Pretty easy. Go check it out. And stop bashing my product, man. I'm working hard over here. I don't need somebody telling everybody, don't go there, it sucks. No, tell them to go there. You can hate it on your own time. Aaron says chocolate chip cookie dough. Now that's good. That is good. I like chocolate chip cookie dough or any kind of cookie dough ice cream. Bill Bennett says, oh no, it's Mr. Bill. I used to have a t-shirt of it, but I don't recall what it was on. Saturday Night Live or the other one in Living Color. I don't remember. I remember Jim Carrey started on Living Color. I don't know if he ever went to Saturday Night Live or not. He may have. I don't know. Aaron says, a man says, yum, Aaron. You talking my language. Fab Daddy says, I had an apple Danish today. I don't care for Danishes too much. They're all right. They're a little crusty, if it's what I'm thinking about. Is that kind of like a cake, but it's flaky? I think that's what it is. Aaron says honey buns are addictive. They are, especially if they're good honey buns. Now, you can get a cheap honey bun and it tastes waxy and it leaves that film in your mouth. I don't like those. But the really primo honey buns, you can just eat them things all day long. But nothing, and I mean nothing, is better than fresh baked glazed donuts. I mean, just out of the oven. Just, man, I could eat them things until I died from it. Amanda says, very addictive, especially the Boston cream pie honey buns. The Boston cream honey buns. Fab Daddy says, I don't hate Facebook. I just rarely use it these days. It's widely used for social media platform. It's a widely used social media platform. This is a social media platform. Ergo, the Facebook page. See what I'm getting at here? I know you thought I did this just so I could be in your living room tonight, but I'm trying to spread the word, so help me out with that. Linda says, I've never seen a Boston cream honey bun. They're hard to find. I find one like once every 2 or 3 weeks, and they sell out quick as they show up. They're not easy to find, and I buy them every time I see them because they're good. But they're not a standard thing that everybody has. I do know that the dollar store carries them. So if you have a dollar store nearby or Family Dollar, whatever it is, go check that out next time you're in there. They probably have one or could order them. I recommend you get them to order them if they don't have them because they're delicious. Amanda says, it's all junk food and I get told to stop making cookies all the time. LOL. Too funny. Well, I'm trying to watch my girlish figure, and I'm not keeping it in as well as I used to, so I need to stop eating so many cookies. I didn't say stop making cookies, just not every week. Let's space it out. Once a month is fine. Aaron says, Krispy Kreme. Oh, yeah. Krispy Kreme's good. I don't like Dunkin' Donuts at all, but Krispy Kreme is awesome. Amanda says, the dollar store has them, Linda. Yes, they do. Bill Bennett says, Little Debbie peanut butter looks like a fudge round, but it's but if you put it in the microwave for 30 seconds or a moon pie in the microwave, I had never had them in the microwave, but and I've never tried the peanut butter ones, but I love the little what do you call those things? Oatmeal cream pies. I love those. I eat those all day long. Fab Daddy says, I love YouTube more than my TV. Right on. Yeah, I don't even watch TV anymore. They don't have anything on TV worth watching. I'm sorry, guys. You guys just can't make TV shows anymore. Every show is woke and stupid and cramming shit down my face that I have to see all day long. I don't want to see that. Here's a news flash, folks that make TV shows. If I wanted reality, I wouldn't be watching TV. I don't want to see somebody that looks just like me. I don't want to be represented. I want to see somebody I can't be so I can be envious and want to watch what they're going to do next. See how that works? It's called fantasy. Nobody watches TV to see real life. They have real life for free. Amanda says, made by Tasty Cakes, Linda. That's who makes the Boston cream honey buns is Tasty Cake. Fab Daddy says, who is better, Little Debbie or Dolly Madison? I don't know who Dolly Madison is, so I'd have to say Little Debbie. Amanda says, LOL. Well, you need a little bit of a shed for your tools. I'm not sure, but I think she just said I was fat. Amanda says, Little Debbie. And actually, Fab, homemade is better than both. Aha! I concur, Doctor. All right. It is Wednesday night, and there's 11 people here and only 7 likes. That means 4 of you did not hit the like button. Am I not working hard here? What's going on? You guys don't like me? Amanda says, what was that show, The Fat Man, Jake? Jake and the Fat Man. Right. Or Jake the Fat Man. Hey. Watch your mouth. She made me that way. I weighed 120 pounds when she got here. Now I weigh 387. Cookies. Hey, it's Fat Albert, says Fab Daddy. OBKB. I don't remember what that show was about, but I watched it when I was a kid. It seemed to be the thing to watch. Aaron says, smiley face. Hey, Aaron, by the way, that J-tag looks great by your name. Makes you look all official. Only thing you're missing is a wrench. Amanda says, well, now, you look healthy and well taken care of. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not healthy, but I am well taken care of. And I love Reese's Pieces cookies. It's a problem. All right, boys and girls, what you guys want to talk about? It's Wednesday, and I'm off work until tomorrow, so you have my undivided attention. Dividedly so. Fab Daddy says Fat Albert was a junkyard band trying to live in the ghetto. I got you. I remember them playing instruments, like homemade instruments, like a wash tub bass. I remember that, and a washboard. A lot of washing going on there for some reason. Amanda says, as he's eating them all night long, hey, if you put cookies there, I'm going to eat them. It's that simple. Aaron says, I don't have a wrench because I throw it when I leave work. Right on. Amen to that. I try to leave work at work and don't bring home to work with me. I try to keep the two divided. If only I could live in that show Severance, where I actually forget who I am when I get to work and I have 2 different identities that don't know each other, that'd be better. And have no memory of the day of work. So I just wake up tired. That would be better, I think. What do you think? I often wonder, though, if that were a real show. Has anybody watched Severance? If it were real and you went to work and your identity switched when you went into the building, that means you never sleep, right? Or half of your life in one life, you're sleeping. So the only life you have is waking up and going to bed. Because the rest of the time, you're working and you don't remember that life. So it must be a really miserable life on the other side of that. If you thought about it. Amanda says, LOL, right, Aaron? Throw that wrench. Bill Bennett says, the dollar store rice pudding is great. What do you think about Zelensky at the White House? And hey, it's Fat Albert. Well, I think Zelensky showed his tail at the White House because I think he was wholly unprepared for who he was going to be talking to. I think he expected to talk to Trump like he talked to Biden, and he found out real fast that shit don't play anymore. It's a whole new country here now, whole new setup. And you're not going to get away with the things you got away with before. And he figured that out. And if you think I'm wrong about that, just look at Zelensky's latest tweet where he apologized profusely and agreed to sign any document anywhere at any time now. Just please don't take the money away from us. because he put his foot in his mouth pretty big there. That's what I think about it. Fab Daddy says, I've seen the weather in your area. Stay safe. Yeah, it's been kind of wild today. The wind is blowing really hard. It's almost like hurricane weather, but not quite. I don't know if we got a nor'easter coming or what the deal is. I hadn't even watched the weather today, but I know it's been kind of crazy. And thank you for the good wishes. We will try to stay safe. Patty says, I like rice pudding. Hey, man, I like rice pudding too, I think. Amanda says, thanks, Fab. It got really nasty today. It did. Dana! Hello, Dana. How are you, sweetheart? She says, I loved the speech of Donald Trump in the House of Congress. Greetings. I did, too. I thought it was it definitely was the best presidential speech I have ever heard in my lifetime, and it might possibly be the best one ever. I don't know. FDR did a good one. I think Jackson did a couple memorable ones, but what Trump did last night was anything short of brilliant. It was beautiful. It was a great, hopeful speech. He sounded very presidential, and I was proud of him. And he stuck it to the Dems, too. He rubbed it in their face every chance he got. But my favorite part of last night, what was supposed to be a State of the Union address, but because it's a non-consecutive term, something legal. You can't be at a president twice kind of nonsense. They called it joint Congress meeting because it's not actually a State of the Union address because he did that in his first term. Anyway, I'm not exactly sure how that works, but it's something like it. But my favorite part of the whole night was when he was running down the Social Security scam that Doge found, where all the people that are over the age of 140, like 3 million people over the age of 140, like 3 million people over the age of 180, like 2,000 people over the age of 250, and one person over the age of 300. He said, this nation is a lot healthier than I thought it was, Bobby. I fell off of the bed when I heard that, or off of wherever I was sitting. It was so funny. Just the way he said that. This country's a lot healthier than I thought it was, baby. We don't need you, Bobby. It's beautiful. Anyway, I hope you guys watched that speech, and I would like to hear your thoughts on it, and both good and bad, whatever you thought, and how you thought the Democrats handled themselves sitting on their hands and holding up silly signs like they're in high school. Amanda says, hi, Dana, hon. Heart, heart. Fab Daddy says, hi, Dana. And Amanda says, yes, Dana, it was. Then my chat jumped. Hang on. It was absolutely great. Thank you. Patty says, hey, Miss Dana. And Dana says, hi, dear Amanda. Hi, Fab Daddy. And hi, Patty. Heart, smiley face. And Linda Davis says, hey, Miss Dana, good to see you. And Amanda says, I could come up with the greatest cure in the world, and the Dems to my right would not even clap. The best. True. And if he manages to wrangle peace in the Middle East or over in Russia, watch them deny him the Nobel Peace Prize again, which he should have got when he crossed over into the DMZ and stood right in front of Kim Jong-un without a security detail. He just walked over there and alpha dogged North Korea for 10 minutes. Like, here I am. What are we going to do? That was the most cowboy shit I've ever seen a president do. None of the presidents in my lifetime would have ever dared even do anything close to that. They wouldn't have went over there, let alone went into the DNZ. But he did. He should have got the Nobel Peace Prize for that, but he didn't. A couple of things. He should have got a Nobel Peace Prize for the Abraham Accords, but he didn't. If he manages to stop the war, watch them deny him a third time. I think that's rude. Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize for being there. He didn't do anything, and they gave it to him. So, you know. Bill Bennett says, what do you think about all the Dems at Trump's speech last night? They didn't even stand for the child with brain cancer. How do we be the United States when we can't unite on even moral values? I agree. Bill. I think you're absolutely right. I think they acted like high school teenagers that were not getting their way. I think they did everything short of holding their breath, and they should have done that. But that just shows you, and I'm not talking about all Democrats, so don't think that if you happen to be a Democrat, well, the mere fact that you're talking to me tells you immediately you're not that kind of Democrat. Those people have lost their damn minds. They are no longer a political party. They are a cult, and their cult-like behavior is going to drive them off a cliff like the lemurs running towards the cliff. They're just going to run right off the edge of it. They can't see how stupid they are. But everybody else can, and that's why they'll never get elected again. Not as long as those people are running things. Because now, the one thing you can say about Donald Trump is that he exposed all of that behavior that we didn't know about beforehand. He's really good at that. Fab Daddy says, it was the longest. Is that all you can say, Fab Daddy? Would you have stood and clapped for the kid with brain cancer that got an honorary Secret Service badge like Elvis? He's the only other person in history that's ever gotten one. Him and Elvis. Dana says, hi, dear Patty Donahue, heart exclamation point. It was 100 minutes. Well, it was definitely fun to watch. And that's not the longest one. There's definitely been longer ones. Or they felt longer anyway. How long was that one where Nancy Pelosi tore up the paper or tried to tear it up and couldn't because she's too weak? That was a pretty long one, too. I think that was his last State of the Union address. Amanda says, they just showed their true colors and how much they are butthurt children. Amen. Danny says that speech was epic. It was filled with hope and common sense. I agree, 100%. And it's hard to not clap about that if you're on the other side. How do you reconcile that in your mind? How do you tell yourself, I'm not going to support the good things that are happening to the world because I don't agree with the guy who's making it happen? How much more narcissism does the country need? I think we've had it up to here with narcissism. I think it's time to go back the other way. I think we need some schoolyard bullies. That's what I think we need. Somebody needs a swirly and their underwear pulled up into the crack. Maybe we need to stick Reverend Green in a locker so he won't show his butt at a public function anymore. Is it Alan Green? Is that his name? Something like that. Amanda says 100%. Absolutely, Dana. Fab Daddy says, I abstain. You abstain from what? Having a conversation about good things that are happening in your country? You're not one of those that's going to sit on your hands, are you? Come on now, Fab Daddy. You know when good is good. Amanda says, demo rats or demon crats, one or the other. Holding signs. Elon steals. Shaking my head. Children. Elon hadn't stolen anything except their money because he's found out they've been cheating this whole time. Everyone holding up that sign, Elon steals, is probably guilty of that themselves. They don't want that gravy train to stop flowing, if you know what I'm saying. Too late. You've been caught. You've been had. It's time for a new regime change. Amanda says, but let's not talk about all the shit they stole in the past 4 years. Right. Mr. P says, hello. Hey, John. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Amanda says, welcome back, Mr. P. Randy Humphreys. Hey, buddy. He says, the Democrats are just jealous of Trump. That they are. They're jealous and they can't figure out how they lost. Well, Trump said it best. You're going to keep losing as long as you're putting, as long as you're in the camp. No, it wasn't Trump. It was, who was it? It was that guy, Bill Maher said it. It wasn't Trump. It was Bill Maher. He said, as long as you're in the camp of making sure that parents are not number one on the how do we treat my children list, you're going to keep losing elections. Something like that. Fab Daddy says, I am a registered Democrat. Well, we can't all be intelligent. Just joking. There are some good Democrats out there. I have nothing against Democrats. In fact, the way they used to be was quite sensible. They are not that way anymore. And if you follow what those people in Washington, D.C. are doing today, if you're following that stuff, you and I have very little in common. But I don't think you're that guy. I think you're an old school Democrat. And I think you've been roped into a bunch of shit you don't necessarily believe in. That's what I think. And you need to stand up and say that and fight for your party to regain its common sense, because it has gone off the deep end, whether you believe that or not, whether you want it to be that way or not. Those people have lost their minds. And if you're tied to them, you're going to go right down the drain. As they go down the drain, you're going to go with them. Don't do that. Stand up and fight. Maybe you can be the Democrat. Maybe you should run for office and be the Democrat that brings Democrats back to reality a little bit. Maybe you should do that. Maybe you should fight for what you believe in. I still don't agree with you, but I'd fight with you so that you could have that opportunity. But these people that are in there today, these old school people that are there, been there for 30 years, those people have lost their minds. They are no longer dealing with reality. They're no longer playing with a full deck of cards. If you don't believe that, just go look at some of the stuff they've approved or tried to get through in some of those omnibus bills that they used to pass. Mr. P says, yep, I got distracted for a minute, thinking about moving south on another note. Really tired of all the weirdos up here. You should come south, Mr. P. It's a lot better down here. Don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of weirdos, but it ain't like it is up north. I can walk around all day and not see a weirdo here, as long as I don't go into a city. If I go into a city, I'll see a bunch of them. But Amanda says, hi, Randy, I agree. They are jealous of Trump. Bill Bennett says, very sad. Fucking politics. We should all have common ground on moral values. I agree. First and foremost, this is a country founded by Christian ideology. The laws are based on Moses' laws. If we can't agree on that, we got problems. But reality is reality. That's not to say that if you're not a Christian that you can't be here. I'm not saying that. But if you're not a Christian, you have to at least acknowledge the fact that you live in a Christian society ran by Christian values. Because if you don't, we're a third world country. And we got this close to being a third world country. Thank God some adults stood up. Can I get an amen? Amanda says, the truth shall set you free. Amen. Why did Elvis get one? He asked for one, Aaron. He was probably high. I don't know. But he went to the White House when Nixon was in office, and he walked in strapped into the White House. You can't do that anymore, but he got away with it because he's Elvis. He probably couldn't do it then either, but he got away with it. Had pistols on each hip when he went into the White House. And he went and talked to Richard Nixon about something private, about drugs. And he wanted to be a secret agent. And he wanted to, like, work as a narc and bust high-profile drug dealers. He's Elvis, so he's around all of that, you know. And he wanted to be a secret agent. And so they gave him a badge. He was literally a secret agent, Elvis Presley. I don't know if he ever did anything with it. I don't know if they would have let him do anything with it, but he got the badge. There's pictures of it on the internet. You can find it where him and Nixon, where he signed in and was sworn in as a actual Secret Service agent. Amanda says, sorry, Fab. Right on. Fab Daddy says, smiley, smiley, smiley. It goes both ways. What goes both ways? What are we talking about, Fab Daddy? That sounds like a cope to me, because right now it's only going one way, and that's the way back towards common sense. If you're trying to suggest that there's crazy people on my side, absolutely. I'm not with those people either. I'd call them out if they were in charge too. They're not. The far right radical left is very expansive. The far left radical people are very expansive. The far right radical people are 13 people in Alabama that hadn't got the memo yet. They're not doing anything. They're not causing any trouble. They're just idiots. And you know what the answer to bad ideas are? More ideas. The answer to bad speech is more speech. If you give somebody a bad idea, if you're out there espousing bad ideas, you need somebody else out there espousing the argument to those bad ideas, and the public needs to be able to hear that argument so they can see the holes that are in that argument, so they can rationalize it amongst themselves. That's why free speech is so important, and that's why it's under such attack right now, because without free speech, they can get away with a lot of things that they couldn't get away with because we can argue with them. And that's why Trump is in office right now, because they pushed it too far. For years, they've been doing we'll push him right up to the line and then just wait a minute. So they never get to that point where they say, okay, enough is enough. We get him right close to it, and then we'll back off and just wait. And then we'll push a little further. You can gain a lot of ground by doing it that way, and they did. Well, then this year, this generation came, and they took over, and they started pushing, and they didn't stop pushing. They just went for the broke. They went to get it all, and people had enough of it. And I promise you, it is more than half of the country. I think in reality, it's about 17% of the country that's on that side. They just have loud voices. 17%. That means the rest of the country ain't about all that nonsense. Think about that. John H. is here. He says, hello, everyone. I had a lump in my throat and a tear in my eye at that speech. Yep, that was a good speech, man. Some good stuff said in that speech. Fab Daddy says, team mentality in politics. Yes, there is. That's absolutely true. And there's a reason for that. We are tribal people. We always, whether we want to or not, group in tribes. This is a tribe. What you're in, actively participating in a tribe right now, because we're like-minded people, we love each other, and we want to be around people that think the same things we think. That's a tribe, and it goes that way for everything. Politics is just the audible embodiment of that mentality. Ultimately, if you want to get things done, you need to have politics when you have tribes. Amanda says, hi, John. Mr. P says, crack don't kill. People who sell crack to people who smoke crack and have asthma kills. I don't know if crack affects asthma or not, but it definitely affects brain cells. Fab Daddy says, I abstain from commenting on the State of the Union address. Well, we didn't have a State of the Union address. We had a joint Congress meeting because State of the Union is a first-term thing. And this is not a consecutive second term, so some legalese nonsense about why they can't do it that way. But it's not technically a State of the Union. But that's quite all right. You don't have to comment. Everybody else will. Amanda says, Fab, were you happy when Trump made DJ, the 13-year-old, an honorary member of the Secret Service? Did that make you feel good? Did that make you proud of your country? Or did you sit on your hands and stick your lip out and go, Fab Daddy said, I fell asleep before that. Well, you really should watch the whole thing because there's some very important stuff that went into the whole thing. Amanda says, well, dang, Mr. P, come on south. We're different folks down here, but we'll accept you. Come on in. We drink iced tea, and that has sugar in it. But Dana says the Democratic Party representatives displayed something. What did they display, Dana? And maybe I read that wrong. Let me read it again. The Democratic Party representatives displayed something. Their true colors. Caucasian Sasquatch says, I did a thing. Congratulations. How you doing? Bill Bennett says, find the Lord, Fab. Find the Lord, Fab Daddy. Your party lost its gourd and its way. True. Not all of the people that are Democrats are as guilty of that as the Democratic Party, the DNC. But trust me when I tell you, they have lost their way. They are no longer operating in your best interest, whether you believe that or not. Might be time for a change in party line. Robert Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard did it, and many other people are jumping ship too. Amanda says, you didn't finish watching it, Fab? Of course he didn't. He didn't want to be held responsible for what he feels, I would imagine. Mr. P says, got to do something, Amanda. I'm losing my mind up here. Right on. Well, you get in your car and head south. And you just head south and keep driving until you can't drive anymore on 95. Just go that way, and you'll end up in a good place, okay? Keep driving south until the break of dawn. Keep moving on. John Stewart, hello. Bernie Sanders is stand-up guy. Really, John? Okay. How come he ain't president then? How come he was bulldozed over by the Democratic Party? And he ain't doing too well as far as I can see. But you're welcome to that opinion, John. But welcome to the show, and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what are your ideas on what's going on in the world today. Mr. P says, smiley face with a sweaty brow. Amanda says, monkey see, monkey do, monkey hear. Or hear no evil, see no evil, smell no evil, something like that. Anyway, Fab Daddy says, no, I am a Bernie Sanders Democrat. That's fine. Like I said, all Democrats are not crazy. The DNC, the Democratic authority that is in existence today, have lost their minds. And if anybody attaches themselves to those nuts, they're going to go right down the drain with them. I promise you that. Write it down that I said so. I'm not accusing you of being attached to them. In fact, I think you're opposite of that. Just being a Democrat doesn't mean you have to put up with the stuff they're doing. Doesn't mean you have to act like they're acting, and it doesn't mean that you have to go along with everything they say in lockstep, because that's cult behavior. I disagree with quite a lot of things that the Republicans say because I'm not a Republican. I'm conservative. I'm not a Republican. I vote Republican, though, because they're the only ones in the whole game right now that has any common sense. Amanda says, hi, John Stewart. Welcome. Bill Bennett says, Mr. P, Indiana is cool. So is Florida and the Carolinas. Yes, they are. North Carolina is a Democrat state, but there's a lot of Trump support around where I'm at. Dana says, cult behavior, incredible. How cold they were. Yeah. Not only were they cold, they were completely non-responsive to moral issues that everybody should agree with. If anybody had common sense, they would agree with it. Like the 13-year-old kid with brain cancer getting his wish come true. That was beautiful. Anybody that says that was anything other than beautiful don't have a heart. Amanda says it was absolutely disgusting, Dana. Yes, it was. Aaron says, microphone, clappy hands, and 100%. Fab Daddy says, Bernie would have been a better candidate than Hillary. I agree 100%. But Hillary had the wokies on her side, and they bulldozed over Bernie, and he never got a chance to run. Sorry, he never had a chance. He was not going to be in that race because they had it all bet on Hillary. And that means anybody else that was even close to her was getting destroyed so that she would have a clear path, and she screwed it up because she couldn't keep her mouth shut. And because she's a disgusting human being, then it shows, it oozes from her pores how evil she is. I agree with you. Bernie Sanders would have been a better candidate, and he would have lost to Trump because Trump had a better message. But he would have been a better Democratic candidate. By that token, Robert Kennedy Jr. would have been a better candidate than her if he could speak. If that guy had a good voice, he would be the president right now. Period. Because he's very passionate and very knowledgeable, and he has a lot of charisma, and he's very well taken care of, and he's a Kennedy, you know. But he can't speak, and that turns people off. They don't even want to hear what he's got to say. I think Trump is using him well, though. Bill Bennett says, not one Democrat vote for males should not be in female sports. Yeah, no, they're in lockstep on that one. They want the world to be androgynous. They want to do away with the nuclear family. They want to do away with anything that is socially normal. They want to do away with anything that is of God. That is their main goal. And if you look at every one of their platforms, every single thing they aspire to is against God. That's the main thing. Anything that's not God, that's what they are, which should tell you something about who they are and who they work for. Linda Davis says, okay, Sasquatch, I'll be the one to ask, what thing did you do? Curious minds. Fab Daddy says, LOL, Linda. And Amanda says, LOL, Linda. Caucasian says, got your phone handy? Tell me if this works. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. P says, we should set up a community of our own, pool resources, and in case of apocalypse, shoot like an Olympic champion. I shoot like an Olympian champion. In case of the apocalypse, I can shoot like an Olympic champion. I can talk. I'm not having a stroke. Mr. P, that's what I'm doing. This is a community set up for that very reason, so that we can pool our resources and have somebody to call on should we need to. That's this place. That's what we're doing here. So I hope that you understand we're on the same page here. Mr. P says, in case. Yeah, I got it. I had to figure it out, but I got it. Hang on, my chat jumped. I got it. Dana says, every normal person in this world wants peace. Nobody wants to see death. I couldn't believe that the Democratic cult just sat there with stoic faces like zombies when Trump was talking about ending the wars and causing peace to occur so that people stop dying. Exactly my point. That is my point. They sit on their hands and refuse to be part of a system that doesn't do what they want it to do. That's the way politics has always worked. One guy or the other wins, and then everybody falls in line because that's the guy that won. That's the people wanted that guy. So everybody does what that guy does, and then they get a chance to run again 4 years later. They don't want to play that game anymore, I guess. Aaron says, imagine him asking for ID, and when you give it, he says, thank you. Thank you very much. Elvis, you mean? Yeah. Let me see your ID, baby. Thank you very much. Amanda says, Fab, do you really have Trump derangement syndrome? I don't think he does. I think he's playing up that character a little bit. I don't think he agrees with Trump. I don't think he's quite as crazy as he's pretending to be. Miss P says, you don't got to be a Democrat to believe those lines on a map mean something, Dana. They didn't If they didn't, your country would be enveloped by Germany or France. True. Yeah, those lines mean something. And that's what she's saying. But that's not the reason they're fighting. It has nothing to do with the lines. Fab Daddy says, is there a drug for Trump derangement syndrome? Yes. Yes, there is. It's called Trumpadol. Or, you know. Actually, it's called a job. If you get a job, it's kind of hard to go Democrat. When you start paying bills, it's kind of hard to be a Democrat. It gets harder anyway. John H. says, the whole of Britain have been called for far right if you don't vote for the left. Right? Yeah, they're going through it right there in Britain, from what I've seen. They don't really have a handle on which way they're going to go just yet. Amanda says, it blows my mind. All the people who have Trump derangement syndrome, and I have a big glass of get over it and a huge straw so they can suck that shit up. Trump it all, says Amanda. Fab Daddy says, ha, 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 ha. Danny says, I don't understand your point, Mr. P. I think he is pro the Ukraine war. I'm not exactly sure what his politics are, and I'm not exactly sure what he means by pro the war, but I think he doesn't agree with my stance on the situation, which is we shouldn't be involved. I think that's what the point is. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm sure he'll illuminate it. Fab Daddy says, I heard that shit's addictive. I can't do any more drugs. Actually, just breathe. Breathing will fix a lot of problems. Amanda says, I don't know. I didn't have to try it. Maybe you should. Mix it with your weed. Right on. Mr. P says, you were saying something about peace, Dana. Maybe I misunderstood. I think what she meant is we're talking about the joint Congress meeting with Trump last night, and how when he was talking about stopping the war in the Middle East and stopping the war in Ukraine and putting an end to the bloodshed over there, all of the Democrats that were there sitting on their hands with stoic faces acting like they didn't hear what he just said or didn't agree with what he just said, which is we want to stop the war. Period. It's over. We want to quit that right now. We want to give them some kind of incentive. That's the reason for the minerals deal, so that America is invested in doing something and not just throwing money at a situation they're not actually part of. We're there. We have mineral rights, so it is in our interest to protect it. Therefore, Russia will back off. Trump's going to pull us out of NATO, so that won't be an issue, which is the reason he went in the first place. So all of that's there, so the war can stop. And now we can rebuild both countries and both peoples and not have any more death. That's what Trump was saying. The Democrats were acting like it was the worst thing they'd ever heard because they want the war, because they're making millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars off of it. That's what she was talking about. I don't know if you misunderstood or not, and I don't know if I've got your position right or not. So any extra help in that situation will lend to me having a better way of describing it. Fab Daddy says, I was thinking a Bud Light chaser with it. Right on. Amanda says, however you have to get it, you should. Mr. P says, sorry, Fab. I got to agree with them there. Gourds are lost. Yeah, those people have lost their minds. And again, I'm not talking about all Democrats. I'm talking about those Democrats. Those people are crazy. They believe in some stuff that nobody should believe in. It's just nonsense. The things they believe in, it's not possible to have a country with those things in play. It's just not possible. A simple thing. All 8 years since Trump's first run and through Biden's run, they have been saying that they can't stop the leaking border without creating new laws, right? And Trump has been saying, yeah, you can. You're the president. You can stop it in like 5 minutes. No, there's been every excuse in the book. Even Obama got on TV and said, what kind of magic wand are you going to wave and just magically close the border? When Trump got elected, within the first day, it was shut. The military was there, and we have had the lowest crossings ever recorded within the first week. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Everything so far that Trump has been in favor of, and everything so far that the Democrats have wildly opposed, has been like that. He's correct. He is right on the things he ran on. Why they can't see it is beyond me. But their hatred for him has blinded their ability to see reality. And that's exactly what Trump derangement syndrome is. Hatred. Bill Bennett says, Bernie needs to go home and enjoy his life. Just my opinion. Well, he's getting on up there. Fab Daddy says, gourds are a fall thing. I have to change my clock forwards this Sunday. They are a fall thing. But I think he's talking about brains. They've lost their brains. John says, if Britain carries on like it is, you have a neighbor, Jake. Come on, John. We'll make room for you. I'm sure we'll find a place you can live right here that's Britain-free and Muslim-free. Not that there's anything wrong with Muslims, but when you let them run into your country and overtake everything, that's a problem. Mr. P says, since when did FedEx start delivering stuff at 9 p.m.? I don't know. Did they deliver something to you at 9 p.m.? And if so, is it because they were stuck in traffic? I mean, it did have a storm tonight, but I don't know if that would do it. EA, hello, long time. What's up, EA? Long time no see. How are you, my friend? We were just talking about you. Bill Bennett says, that's why you're here, brother. Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much. Amanda says, they deliver up to 10. FedEx and Amazon UPS stop at 9. Okay, so FedEx has always delivered at 10, apparently. Linda Davis says, welcome back, EA. And Amanda says, hi, EA. Long time no see. I'm glad you stopped back in, EA. Mr. P says, I must have missed that memo, Amanda. Which one? Amanda says, LOL, Mr. P. Oh, the 10 o'clock thing? Must have. Fab Daddy says, I am thinking about selling my gold card status for $4 million. They can be me and I will live in another country. Well, you don't have a gold card because you don't have $5 million. But I'm glad you brought that up because personally, this is just my opinion. You guys tell me what you think. I think that is the most brilliant political decision ever devised. Why has no one thought of this before? We're worried about criminals, crazy people, and prisoners and gang members coming over the border because it's opened. We realize that something has to happen because a lot of people want to come here. But if you close the borders and open up the doors so they can come in legally, it takes like 10 years to get all that done. So it really backs up the backlog of people trying to get in. It's very hard to come in legally. Why not sell a green card and take the money generated from the green card and put it towards the deficit, which we wildly throw at all kinds of causes all over the world till we're trillions of dollars in debt and it's unpayable. There's no way. The only way out of the deficit is a default. That's it. We can't pay that back. But if we sell a green card for $5 million, and $5 million is chump change to people that make money, trust me, if you don't believe me, look at the numbers in U.S. aid going out to ridiculous things like Sesame Street for Iraq or something like that. Whatever it is, nonsense. Shrimp. What was the thing about shrimp? Can shrimp be transgender or something like that? It's a big, I can't remember. Anyways, really stupid things that they spend billions of dollars on. So trust me when I tell you that real investors, real good quality people, $5 million is nothing. And there will be people coming from every country buying those cars to come in and start businesses and invest in America. And that will make the economy grow, and the money will go towards the deficit, and at $5 million chunks will be lowering the deficit. That's brilliant. That is a brilliant move. They should have been doing that from the very get-go. That's way better than taxes. That everybody gets something with that deal. How can you think that's not good? Dish, what do you guys think? Bill Bennett says, how did they push Kamala in? They just put her in. They just installed her. She never won a primary. She didn't go through the caucuses. She didn't get a single vote, not one. They just installed her. And then she shit the bed when she ran for president. And apparently they believe in that kind of stuff because Tim Walz is talking about running for president in 2028. Tim Walz, the guy with the least amount of testosterone on planet Earth. The weirdest candidate ever that nobody likes on either side is thinking about running for president. That means he has to believe he has a chance to win. That, whatever they put in their Kool-Aid is strong, I'm telling you. John says, Jake, in Britain, Jake, now if you talk down about the left, now on social media, you can be arrested. Now that's what Starmer is doing now. I know. That's because you guys don't have free speech. Even though they claim that you're a free country, you are not. You don't have free speech, and that's the most important thing to have. Number 2 is the second most important thing to have, and that's to protect number 1. And you don't have that either. So not only can you not say what you think and what you believe, but you can't protect yourself if your government decides to become tyrannical, which they have. They've even threatened to arrest some of us. Like, yeah, come on over here and try that. I'll be waiting on you, Starmer. I'll give you my address. You show up and arrest me. You're going to find out that it's not quite so easy because we're armed. And not British. Anyway, Amanda says, I do a lot of online shopping and get stuff at all hours. Walmart delivers up till 11. Right on. EA says, hey, Amanda. Mr. P says, Hillary is the robotic stiff type, Dana. Hillary is the robotic stiff type Dana was talking about. I think they're all on the same cough syrup. Yeah, whatever they put in their Kool-Aid is way stronger than what we put in ours, is all I got to say. If the Republicans walked in lockstep like the Democrats do, we'd rule the world. I'm just saying. Not that we want to. We don't. EA says, hi, Linda. Mr. P says, there. Yep. Randy Humphrey says, that is just evil the way some Democrats think. I know. It's pure evil. Amanda says, the Dems are just making sure they never run this country again. Let them keep it up. Well, every time they put themselves in that category, that's exactly what they're doing, because whether they like them or not, the flyover states where all the normal people are, we don't like that nonsense. That's not the country we were promised, and that's not what we're not living our lives like that. So every time they try to run on that message, that's exactly what they're going to get beat out every time. They might have small wins, but they will get conquered in the end. Bill Bennett says, what's her name that said 5 more years in Ukraine, spoke out of turn, and I have never saw that sergeant of arms remove someone, LOL, get out. Well, the one you're talking about, I think, was Pocahontas. I can't remember what's her name? I can't remember her name because she's not important. But the guy that got kicked out, his name was Alan Green or something like that. Black guy with a ponytail. Weird. Anyway, Dana says, I did not see Hillary there, Mr. P. Hillary wasn't there. I think he was just referencing what somebody said earlier about Hillary Clinton. EA says, happy Ramadan, all. Happy Wednesday to you too, EA. Mr. P says, I don't think peace is right on every occasion. I just don't see how we're making deals with Russia. They make jokes about America. They sell weapons to our enemies. Believe it. We do the same thing, Mr. P. I do believe it. That's the nature of people. They do that sort of thing. However, we're not allies. We are tangentially powerful countries. And so it's in our interests to align on some issues, but we're not allies. We're not enemies either, but we're not allies, Russia and America. Ukraine is a very small communist country carved out of a very large, whatever you want to call Russia, communist or USSR, whatever that was back in the day. They're not exactly democratic by nature. They have their own system, right? That's fine with me. I don't care what they do in Russia. It's their business. And I don't care what Ukraine does. Peace is always the preferable option because the other option is death. Why would you not want to have peace? I'm not saying you shouldn't always forfeit a fight for peace. Sometimes you have to fight. Sometimes your back's against the wall. This has never been one of those cases. It's never been. If you do a little research, you'll find out that this all started a long time ago when they were trying to get all the countries around Russia into NATO. NATO is like a supergroup that's all backed by American military. And all of their little militaries added to it. That's basically an empire that's taken over the world. That puts us in the bad guy category. NATO hadn't been a good idea since the 80s, right? It made sense then because there were some bad forces out there, USSR and all that stuff. All that's gone now. Now, you can say what you want to say about Putin. I'll probably be the only person you ever hear on any screen tell you the truth about Putin. Here's the truth about Putin. We, as a country, don't know anything about Putin as a man that we didn't learn on the news, which we all know lies through their teeth to us on a daily basis to spread whatever narrative they're pushing at whoever's in charge. Trust me, I don't know Putin. I've never been to Russia. I don't know anything about the man. I don't know anything about his politics. I don't know anything about how his country is ran. I don't know anything about his personal beliefs. What I do know is he's a human being, and he's afforded the same right to live as you do, and I do. That's all I care about. Beyond that, he's not a boogeyman. He's not a monster. He is no more a killer than the people that run our country are. What do you want me to say? He's got a problem in his country. We should get involved? I don't think we should. I think we got enough problems here. We should focus on that. Let them focus on their problems. And if he takes over Ukraine, so what? What's that going to do to us? Nothing. So if he takes over Ukraine, he's going to take over Poland. Not true. He already has troops in Poland. Go look. Belarus, anybody? It's not in his interest to take over Poland. It's not going to happen. That's a lie being told to us by the news, which happens every day. So, what do you mean peace isn't always the best option? It is. It's always the best option. It may not always be the possible option, but it's always the best one. Bill says, it's Bush Light. And by the way, we've been in the weapons sales business for a long time. You remember a little thing called Iran-Contra? That's what that was about. Dana says, I have seen Nancy Pelosi, LOL. She looks pissed, right? She does, because she lost. She used to be third in line for the presidency. Now she's third in line at Walmart. Mr. P says, Dana, Hillary is there in spirit. She is a leader in the Democratic Party to this day, unofficially or not. I would agree with that. She is definitely there in spirit because she stands for the same thing those Democrats stand for, which is the New World Order, the global agenda, which we are not a global world. We are a world divided by countries, and this global idea, this whatever you want to call it, there's a word for it, but I can't think of it right now, where everybody's under one ruler, that's never going to happen. I know that's what they want, but it's never going to happen. One world, one religion, one leader, all walking in lockstep. Nobody owns anything. You'll eat the bugs and be happy. Not me. Mr. P says, smiley, smiley, smiley. Bill says, I will send my gold card. I will sell my gold card. Nothing is free. Work to eat. Amen. Well, we don't have a gold card. You have to buy those, and they cost $5 million. But we are natural-born citizens, so we don't have to have a gold card. I don't find Putin trustworthy enough to clean gum from the bottom of my shoe. But what do you know about Putin? I mean that sincerely. What do you know about Putin other than what you've heard on CNN or MSNBC or any other channel? Fox. Do you actually know anything about? Have you ever been there? Do you know anything about the country? Because I don't. Which means I'm not in a position to judge that man in that way. Amanda says she was probably drunk, Dana. Probably. Dana says, oh, okay. Hitlery, right on. Diego, what's up, buddy? I'm the map. Just got out of the gym today. Cool. Just today? Have you been there all week? Amanda says, hi, Diego. Mr. P says he wanted a path through the Black Sea to trade his arms in the Middle East, also drugs, etc. No, that's not true, and you know that's not true. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm saying there's more to it than that. The path through to the Black Sea is the only place in Russia that he has a path to a trade route that is not through a NATO country. It's the only spot where he can actually go to the sea and trade. That's all things, including arms and drugs. And also, look into Barry Seals. Look into Bill Clinton and Amina, Arkansas, to learn what this country does with our drugs and arms. Really. That's not a new thing, Mr. P. All countries do that. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but right now, today, we have military in Afghanistan guarding poppy fields, which is where you make heroin. You understand? We're guarding them so they can make heroin. That's what we're doing. You think we're not getting a kickback off of that? Why are we in Afghanistan again? Does anybody know? John H. says the biggest threat is China at the moment. They're building massive warships to invade Taiwan, planes around it. Yes, China is a problem. Them invading Taiwan is a problem. But it's their problem. I don't want to get involved in that fight either. Mr. P says, I'll take Zelensky over Putin every damn day of the week. Maybe I'm not seeing it all. I pay attention to the world around me, probably more than I should. Well, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I've watched Putin talk, and I've watched Zelensky talk, and only one of them is trying to do anything for their country, and that would be Putin. You know. Putin ain't shit, I'll leave it there. But you hadn't answered the question, John. What do you know about Putin other than what you've heard on the news? I mean, do you know anything intrinsic, firsthand knowledge about that man or that country? I don't. And I'll be the first one to admit that. I know nothing about how Russia works or what the man who runs it for the last 26 years is like. I don't know. But I know what I see when I see Zelensky. I see a petulant child who's been propped up. He was a comedian before he was a world leader. And that war could have been stopped 3 times already. But him and the Democratic Party kept it going. Why? I do agree that sometimes there are times you should fight. World War II was one of them. However, you should always try to stop that fight. War should not go on forever. It's not practical. You run out of people like that. Amanda says, Trump has 3 million in eggs bought in the U.S. today from Canada. Nice. Everything Trump said he was going to do, he is doing it. Nice. $3 million in eggs in the egg industry from Canada to prop up our high inflated egg costs here. Lower the prices. That's very good. I didn't know they did that yet. I knew he was talking about it, but I'm glad they did it. Mr. P says, EA, hey. And Dana says, Zelensky signed all the rare mineral in Ukraine to Keir Starmer in the UK. 4 days before he came to the Oval Office on the last Friday. I'm sure Trump knew this before this clown showed up. I did not know that he did that. If he already signed all that over to Keir Starmer, then we can't make a deal because it's already somebody else's. That would be bad. Let's hope he can backtrack on that one. Amanda says, Dana, he also had an appointment with the Democrats and got advice from them right before the meeting with Trump. That's true also. What he said in that meeting was put in his ear minutes before he went into that meeting, because before that he was talking a different story. So you can believe what you want to believe, but I'm telling you, that guy is a puppet and he's being operated by the Democratic Party. Believe that. Mr. P says, Dana, then I like him even more. All right. Explain that, Mr. P. Mr. P says, just my opinion. Like it, don't like it. Nobody's arguing with you. I ask you to explain your position, not throw insults. I get it. You think differently than I do. I'm asking you why you think differently than I do. Surely you can articulate it. Surely it's a well thought out position. So we're just interested to know what it is. That's all. Bill Bennett says trans mice. Right on. Ridiculous. Something like $5 million to see if they could turn mice trans. How can you tell if a mouse is trans, by the way? I'm just curious. Holy mammoth mice, says Fab Daddy. Right on. Mr. P says putting it to Putin is all that matters. I'll take it. Think about what you just said there. The only thing that matters is attacking a person you know nothing about? Because I've asked 3 times and not one word about what you know about the guy. Did you know he was a Christian? Out of his mouth. I don't know if that's true or not, but he said it. Now, if he's a Christian, then that means he is aware of the concept of forgiveness, which we are aware of because we're Christians. Just, I wonder if Zelensky's a Christian. I wonder if that matters in this conflict. Patty says, trans mice. Oh, yeah, that's a real thing. They actually tried to do that. Something like $5 million they put into finding out. That's wanting it bad. That's all I can say. John says, in Britain, the taxpayer is sending money to Ukraine, but the elderly people can't even afford the heating bills. F. Starmer. Well, they were getting their gas from Putin, but Zelensky blew up the pipeline and then tried to stop it because he realized he was in over his head. That's real. That happened. So you guys are having trouble with heating bills because you don't have gas coming from Russia anymore. Amanda says 50 million in condoms to Gaza. Dana says Zelensky signed 100 years subserviency of Ukraine, including all the natural resources, to the UK. He sold the whole Ukraine to the Brits. I am 100% sure that Trump knew all about this dirty deal. Well, hopefully they can stop it. Hopefully that's what's going on. Hopefully that's what the end result of what happened on TV the other day. Hopefully that's where that goes. The other day, when Starmer came to the White House, did you guys see that meeting? And Starmer was talking all this stuff about what he was going to do and how he was going to do it. And Trump just asked him right there on national television, so could you guys take Russia without our help? And you watch Starmer melt like a little lily. No. See, if Russia attacks us, they've got a problem because we're both equal in power. They got more nukes. We got more military. But if Russia attacks UK, UK has a problem if we are not there to help them. But if Russia attacks us and UK isn't there to help us, that doesn't mean anything. You see, all of these different little countries that are involved in this problem, they all rely on the U.S. for military support. All of them. Every one of them. They need us, and we need them. But if they dropped off, it would not stop us from being. If we drop off, it might stop them from being. Just like Canada, which is why Trump is jokingly calling, what's his name? Trudeau, Governor Trudeau. It's a joke, but he ain't lying. He wants Canada to become the 51st state. Is that going to happen? I don't know, but it would probably be in both countries' benefit if it did happen. But we'll see. We'll see if it works or not. He's putting the pressure on him, though. It's an interesting tactic. I never thought they would do that, but they're doing it, so we'll see. Patty says, why is there no money for the elderly in the UK? I would imagine because all this spare money is going to something like Ukraine. I'm just guessing. I don't know. Wow, you guys got a lot to think about this subject. Oh, I went too far. Hang on. Mr. P says, I'm sure Trump's attitude assured that he would sell them to UK. Well, apparently it was done before Trump's attitude. Dana says, yes, Amanda, the weirdos from South Carolina named Lindsey Graham was his mentor. Really? Lindsey Graham, huh? Walter Davis says, good evening, all. Hey, Walter, what's up, buddy? Mr. P says, Patty, they don't have Social Security there like here. It's all different. True. Amanda says, hi, Walter. And Amanda says, right, Dana. And Fab Daddy says, Social Security, SSN, I worked for. They took a lot of money from my paychecks. I will get it back. Or will I get it back? Probably not. You'll probably get SSI when you're old enough to apply for it. But I don't know if you'll live long enough from that point forward to get all the money back that they took out. But that's what taxes are, yo. That's why you should vote Republican, because he's trying to lower those taxes. All that money got took out of your paycheck, he's trying to get that down to a manageable number. Walter says, hi, Jake, Amanda, Mr. P, Dana, Patty, John, Fab, Bill, EA, Diego, the other John, a couple of other Johns. Amanda says, yeah, Fab Daddy, 62 early or 65 full benefits for retirement. Patty says Elizabeth Warren is Pocahontas. That's her name. Elizabeth Warren is the one I was thinking of. Thank you, Walter. I couldn't think of that name to save my life. Like it or leave it, Trump makes really good nicknames because they stick. Mr. P says, hey, Walter, welcome, brother. And Dana says, Lindsey Graham, the bloodthirsty warmonger, was Zelensky's worst ass kisser. Yeah, and he was on TV yesterday saying he didn't think we could do business with him ever again. If you get Lindsey Graham upset at you, you know you done messed up because he's all about that war. Believe that. That ought to tell you right there, his reaction to it ought to tell you that Zelensky got over his skis on that meeting. I don't think anybody expected him to act that way, and it showed. Walter Davis says, hi, Aaron, and EA. Got it. Walter says, good to see you, Walter. Fab Daddy says, good to see you, Walter. Dana says, hey, Walter Davis, thumbs up. Walter says, hi, Linda. Dana says, Russia is not communist in any shape or form for over 34 years. Right. That's why I said, or whatever it is, because I don't know what they are. I know that Ukraine is very communist. They're actively acting like Nazis over there. For real. Don't believe that. Go look into their politics. Go look into who's running the show over there. Patty says, it's happening. It is happening. What's happening? Did I miss something? Walter says, when the Warsaw Pact ended, NATO should have too. I agree with that. But there was too much money getting passed around. Agreed. Since at least 85, NATO has not really been necessary. They're just there. Just another bureaucratic entity sucking money off of the taxpayer. I hope Trump gets rid of all that nonsense. I hope Doge cuts all of that shit out. We'll see. We'll see how far it gets and how long it lasts. Might all end in 4 years. Who knows? If Trump does a good job in that he delivers on everything he promised, there will not be a Democrat in office for the next 20 years. If he does not, he will be replaced immediately in 4 years. So you guys who believe in that nonsense, you have nothing to worry about. If you guys are right and Trump is what you say he is, you'll be back in office in 4 years. But right now, today, the House, the Senate, the popular vote, the Electoral College, and everybody and their mother moved conservative for a reason. He painted the flag or the map red. Red for Republican. That's not in our imagination. That happened. So you need to reconcile with whatever you believe in and figure out why everybody, including California, moved right. Why did they do that? It's because the left lost their damn minds and they're pushing for things that should not be. Simple. Bill says, ever saw the movie Warlord? That is our government. We are probably the bad guys. Nord Stream pipeline, we blew it up. No, we did not. Zelensky blew it up. We did not. That's in the news today. Go look at it. Fab Daddy says, I believe that the media in Russia is state-controlled. Well, I would imagine so. As with all other countries that aren't free, that's how it works. The state runs everything, which is why we do not want to be those people. Which is the way we're being pushed by the left. Reconcile it in your mind. The stuff that you hate, your party is causing. That's how you fix it. Vote the other way. Linda says, hi, Walter. And Walter Davis says, Poland is already NATO. As every other country surrounding Russia is NATO also. The only one that's not is that little path through Ukraine that goes to the Black Sea. And when they started talking about going into NATO, that's when Putin said, if you do that, I'll invade. And they just kept pushing it and kept pushing it and kept pushing it. And then they went on live TV pushing it. Next thing you know, they invaded. I'm sorry. He said it. He told you don't do that. It's his country to whether you like Putin or not, it is his country. He is the guy in charge of it. So it's his decision to make. And if you're like, well, Ukraine is its own country. Not historically. No, it's not. Just because somebody says a thing doesn't make it true. Patty says, that thing we always knew was going to happen is happening. Yes, it is. And Dana says, Bill Clinton said just a few days ago that Putin has never broken his word, nor any treaty, nor any agreement. Anybody can find this on the YouTube. Clinton has great respect for Putin. What? A Democrat likes Putin? I'm shocked. You remember the reset button? Let's reset everything. That was Hillary. Just like a week before she went all paint the world red for Russia. Fab Daddy says Clinton and Trump respect each other. Well, I would imagine so. Trump is a very powerful man and is worthy of that respect. I mean, look where he's at. He's gotten the presidency twice. While everybody in the world was out to get him, he managed it again. And more popular now than he was then. And then, like he said on that meeting last night, how did that work out for you guys? You attacked me with everything you had. You weaponized every branch of the government. You turned everyone after me. You impeached me like 100 times. How did that work out for you? Sitting in my joint Congress meeting. They didn't like that too much. Walter Davis says, Iran-Contra was U.S. buying weapons from Iran to give to the rebel Contras in Nicaragua, which is otherwise known as arms deals. Yes. It was a great thing all the way around. Was it now? Patty says, Chelsea Handler had respect for Putin on a horse. Well, he was a sexy man on that horse, all buff and bare. If you're over the age of 30, you should not be bareback on a bareback horse. Doesn't look right. Anyway, Mr. P says, I'm well aware of his military maneuvering. Sometimes you got to fight the good fight. But what's the good fight? That's what I mean by peace isn't always the best option. We're all entitled to our opinion. Nobody's trying to take your opinion. And that, at the very least, well, true. You are absolutely entitled to your opinion. I only ask you to articulate what that opinion was rather than throwing quips that have no value. Saying it is what it is isn't an explanation. I want to know why it is what it is, what the details are so that I can understand your position. I'm not trying to stop you from having it. I just want to know what it is. Fab Daddy says, I want the unredacted Epstein files. So does everybody else, Fab Daddy. We're not real happy about that either. Guess who, by the way, has control of those unredacted Epstein files? The Democratic Party. They're the ones keeping us from seeing it, not the other way around. By the way, that first release of the Epstein files released absolutely nothing new or nothing incriminating. So we all knew all that already. That truckload that came in today might be a little different, full of different stuff. We'll see. We'll see in the next couple of weeks how much of that actually gets released. I'm guessing it's going to be like the JFK files. I'm guessing there's a guy with a big gun and a black suit standing over somebody's shoulder saying, yeah, don't release that one. Walter says Putin does what he thinks is good for Russia. Might not be good for us, but he is Russian. So, yeah, that's the way I see it. I don't care if he's doing what's best for his country. Doesn't bother me in the least. I just don't want to be part of it. I feel the same way about Russia as I do gay people. I don't care what you do. It's none of my business. Just don't get any of it on me. That's all I'm asking. Patty says, give us that Epstein file. Yes, I agree. I don't know that we'll ever get it, though. A lot of people don't want that information out there. Mr. P says, I don't know anything about Hillary Clinton. I haven't learned from the news either, Jake. It doesn't stop me from knowing something isn't right with her and her Dems. Well, that's not entirely true because We live in the country she lives in and saw firsthand what she did as the First Lady and as Secretary of State. And it doesn't matter how the news spins it. That information is available for everybody to go see, whether the news said it or not. That is not the same with Putin, because you can't go see what he's doing. You have no idea what he's doing. The only thing you know is that everybody on TV says he's the devil. That's my opinion. That's what I see. I don't know what you know. You may have lived in Russia for all I know. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the average person doesn't know anything about that man or that country at all, except what we're fed on national television. And that is almost certainly a lie all the way around. Walter says, I know people who bought Coke off the airplane in Mena, Arkansas, and met Hillary. I don't doubt that at all, Walter. That was what was happening, by the way, when old Bill Clinton was governor of Arkansas. They were using Arkansas as a hub for those Nicaraguans to come in and train. They were doing it in Mena, Arkansas, and they were flying shipments of cocaine from South America into Mena, Arkansas to be distributed into the country. We were buying it. The CIA was buying it. That was a CIA directive. Check it out. Patty says, what does it matter now? Right. Doesn't matter now. Doesn't matter if I'm telling a lie now because I got away with it already. Mr. P says, politics isn't a good night for me. I'm not insecure in any way, shape, or form on these topics, so I'll never back down. Just agree to disagree. I'm not attacking you, Mr. P. That's the problem. You're saying things like I'm down your throat. I don't care what you believe. I don't care if you like what I believe. That's not what politics is about. I'm not espousing my opinion. I may give it, but I'm allowing everyone else to give their opinion too. I just happen to have a microphone. That's what politics is about. It's for everybody to talk nonsense and get it out of their system for the rest of the week. Why it bleeds over into this night is because it's on everybody's mind. But you keep talking like I'm trying to tell you not to believe what you believe. I don't give a damn what you believe. I don't give a damn if you think you're right. Everybody does. Everybody thinks their crow's the blackest. I'm not attacking you. So why would I agree to disagree with something I didn't disagree with? The only thing I ask you is to explain yourself, which you have not done. So I don't care whether you're secure about what you believe or not. I'm not threatening your security. I'm not trying to make you look wrong. I don't care at all. I am going to talk about it because that's what's happening, and I have a show to talk about things that are happening. That's what we're doing here. So, I can't not talk about it. It's in my face. But this idea that we have to agree to disagree, well, if I were attacking you, then maybe so. I'm not. I don't care what you believe. I haven't asked you what you believe until you attacked what I believed. And then I ask you to explain what you believed, and that's it. If it doesn't square with reality, that's not my fault. I didn't do that. So if you're mad at the world, don't take it out on me. I'm your friend. Don't forget that. Bill Bennett says, I think he was old KGB. You mean Putin? He was. He was a KGB officer back when that thing was going. And he was also an intelligence officer. And he probably has an arm length worth of credits to his name of different things that he's done. He's a very educated man. Whether you like him or not, the man's done a lot of stuff. Fabiday says, Mr. P, if you need any advice, ask Walter. Thanks, Fab Daddy. Dana says, Taiwan is officially a Chinese territory. They are all Chinese, same language. They are all brothers. China is not an expansionist nor a colonizer. The history is the proof. Well, actually, Taiwan is China. It's the same country. Except when the CCP took over, they in Taiwan did not want to go that way. They did not want to become a communist state. So they had a divide. And then the CCP started this one China policy, which we, for whatever reason, backed up. So now the Democrats will not even say the word Taiwan. They won't even entertain the idea that it exists. But it does. And they are a free, democratically ran China in Taiwan, which is what all of China used to be before the CCP took over. That's my understanding of it. Anybody know more than I do, please feel free to fill in the gaps, because I'm not Chinese and I don't care what happens in their country. Walter says, Zelensky has no support and canceled the elections, closed churches, and arrested journalists for closed news outlets. Andy closed news outlets. Putin has not. Who is the dictator? That's a good question. That is a good question. I await an answer because I don't know. I didn't call either one of them a dictator, but one of them is actually acting like one. Patty says, some of the churches need those eggs for their beliefs in Easter. They'll need them. Right on. I hope that they'll forfeit their Easter eggs for somebody's breakfast, though, because I like eggs, and I'm not paying $9 a carton for eggs. I'm just not going to do it. I don't care how many chickens had to die. I'm not doing it. Patty, Amanda says, LOL, Patty. And Walter Davis says, Zelensky signed a deal with the Brits, but the Brits need American support to take on defense for free. Trump's pulling out big problems. Yeah, that's kind of funny, isn't it? Fab Daddy says, Walter is the Gandalf. Jake is the king of dwarfs. Hard-headed. Dana is an elf. Amanda is an ogre. Fab Daddy's throwing some flames over here, buddy. Shots fired. First of all, I'm not hard-headed. I'm correct. There's a difference, right? Second of all, you're right about Amanda. She's an ogre. She'll crack you over the head with a wrench, too. Amanda says, really, Fab Daddy? Resorting to name-calling? Well, at least I'm not a Democrat. Or Demorat, rather. Wow. I wasn't wrong. Shots fired. Walter says, Fab, I listen to any side. I do my own research. Me too. Dana says, Zelensky sold the entire Ukraine to the Brits for 100 years. Zelensky is an Ashkenazi Jew. He doesn't give a damn about the people of Ukraine. They are not his people. History repeats itself. I didn't even know anything about the Jewish connection. I just know that there are other ways to run a country than the way it's being ran. Fab Daddy says, no, it's Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings or Lord of the Flies? Bill Bennett says, I think we blew the pipeline up. Not sure why, except for war. Well, I understand, and I thought that too for a little while, but new information has come out and people have confessed. So actually, Zelensky gave the order for the pipeline to be destroyed so that it would push Article 5, which is our ability to be mandatorily forced to support them because of the NATO connection. See how that works? It didn't work out, and he tried to call it off, but he actually gave the order, and 2 people on a yacht went out and blew it up. Go look, it's in the news. I didn't make it up. Fab Daddy says, Bill is a hobbit. Right on. Dana says, Fab Daddy, am I an elf? Don't get Dana mad at you. She'll wallop you. John H. says, Jake, Britain have only 75,000 troops left, so that's why. Right? I got you. Walter says, anyone with a boat the size of mine with good electronics could have blown up that pipeline. It's not rocket science, right? Bill Bennett says, I hope not. Canada would bring more liberal seats to the Electoral College. This is true. I wonder how many they would get. Antonio, welcome to the show. He says, why didn't the lifeguard save the hippie? He was too far out, man. Nice, Antonio. Welcome to the show. How are you? Who are you? And what do you want to talk about? Good joke, by the way. Walter says, Dana, Taiwan was never part of China after World War II. It was independent. Yeah, but it was because of the CCP takeover. They used to be China. It's all one country. It's an island off of China, basically. But it isn't no more. But that isn't their wish. They consider themselves Chinese. Amanda says, hi, Antonio. Welcome and LOL. Walter says, China was never, for the last 5,000 years, a sea power. True, but they are getting that way now. They're building islands in the ocean. They're like making land masses so they can put military bases out there. That's not a good thing. They are expanding their territory under the CCP. Dana says, Walter Davis, yes, you are correct. I made a mistake. They are the same people, same language. Yes, they are. And they used to be the same country, but that's all done away with now. And I don't think they're going to reconcile anytime soon. Dana says, Zelensky and the British MI6 blew it up. That's what the news is saying. Which also, by the way, most certainly is a lie. I've said that before, too. Not just when it is in my favor, but when it isn't also, it's still true. Walter Davis says, Dana, China's military command structure ensures they are never going to be a military threat. Taiwan can defend itself. Maybe, I don't know. Patty says, oh, Antonio, what a great joke. Antonio, no, Antonio, it's too sassy. Sorry, Saturday Night Live skit. Danny says, Walter Davis, thumbs up. Mr. P says, sometimes you have a weird way of thinking, Jake. I still love you, man. I do have a weird way of thinking. That's why everybody listens to me, because I'm weird and not normal. That's all right. And I love you, too. I'm just trying to get at a point here. You're acting like I'm attacking you, and I'm not. Just because I'm calling you to explain what you just said is not an attack. That's what everybody should do. You shouldn't espouse an opinion unless you have articulated it to yourself and can articulate it to me. That's my point. I'm not in any way, shape, or form concerned about how you believe or what you think or how you vote or anything like that. We're buddies. Doesn't matter. But if we're going to have an argument, somebody has to be right. And the way you find out who's right is who has the facts to back up what they're saying. Whether that's me or you is irrelevant. It's just a conversation. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it after I hit the end button. It's over. And the next time I come, I'll be fresh and new, thinking about whatever it is we're talking about then. But right now, I'm sorry. The war needs to stop, regardless of who's right. Too many people have died. Wars can't go on forever. Walter Davis says, China has not been able to remove India from the Kashmir region for decades against far less Indians. I don't know anything about that part of the world other than the ancient stuff. Patty says, Chelsea was naked. Really? Yeah. That woman worries me. That's what happens when you believe liberal ideas so much that you stop looking at reality. You turn into Chelsea Handler, 50 years old, addicted to wine, and naked on television, espousing how proud you are you've never had children. And alone. Amanda says the Epstein files are full of Democrats. That's why they don't want them out fully. I don't doubt that at all. I imagine there's some Republicans in there too, just to be fair. I imagine any dude that likes a tryst with a 17-year-old hottie is probably on that list. Patty says, Miss Amanda, true romance. Mr. P says, Jake, if I sat here typing my position on Putin's maneuverings and after it all got told I'm wrong, I really think my head will explode. So I'm not going to bother with details that you'll surely shoot down. Well, that's unfair, Mr. P. You don't know what I'm going to say until I say it. I don't know what I'm going to say until I say it because I haven't thought about what we're going to be talking about 5 minutes from now. So that's really not a nice way to treat somebody who's trying to be your friend and give you the benefit of the doubt and allow you to espouse your position rather than just telling you you're wrong, because I'm just as capable of being wrong. The only way I can learn is by details, because I just said 5 minutes ago I don't know anything about that man that I haven't learned on TV, which means I don't know anything about that man, which is why I don't judge that man or any other man that I don't know anything about. So if you think that I'm just going to tell you you're wrong, maybe you should think about your position before you die on that hill, because you might be wrong. Maybe that's your subconscious telling you you're wrong. I haven't said that, though. So it's unfair to judge me for something I haven't done before I haven't done it. You see what I'm saying? I wouldn't treat you that way. I'm asking that you don't treat me that way. And it's all right if you disagree with me. But if you disagree with me audibly or visually, I'm going to ask why. Because I think I'm right. I don't just say things. I think about things deeply. Look at my face. I'm a very deep thinker. You see the wrinkles? That's from thinking. So I put a lot of effort into the things I say out loud. I'm not just running off at the mouth. I don't just willy-nilly say things. You've seen me do this argument before in other topics, and I'll do it again in this topic. I don't just say things. The things that I say almost certainly go against the narrative. Almost certainly I'm going to say things that you've never heard before. Almost certainly I'm going to say things opposite of what you've been taught your whole life. That's the point in enlightenment, is to uncover reality from the facade that we've all been covered under. And sometimes that truth is going to be painful and hard to swallow, like the moon landing. There's a lot of people's identity is wrapped up in that thing, and you would be surprised how angry people would get at you for telling them that what they thought was true was not. But the proof is in the picking. Some were born to listen, some were born to play. Proof is in the picking, right? So understand that this is a talk show, and that talk show is about you. It always has been. It always will be. You're the star of this show. I am the middleman, which means I have to ask questions, and I have to assert points, and I have to put pieces together from conversations that are happening in front of me in real time at super speed, and many of them in different directions. So sometimes I may come off a little harsh or hard-headed or whatever, but I'm trying to keep up with everybody's conversations while having a natural flow to the show. It's not as easy as it looks, by the way. I would really ensure you that I am taking your position at face value. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I might say you're incorrect, and if I say that, it's because I have evidence to back up what I'm saying, not because I'm just trying to put you down. My job is to build you up, but in order to build you up, you have to have correct information. And if I don't know that you have correct information, I'll ask, what do you mean by that? So that I know what you know. That's what a conversation is. Sometimes it might take a little typing, that's fine. If you want to do it in an email and let me review it, that's fine also. But if you're a member, you have a wrench. So you are high up in the order of hierarchy of this show. You're upper echelon subscriber to this show and a member, by the way. So what you think matters, and we have to come to some consensus because we have a show. That's what being a member means. You're a part owner of this show. So by all means, say what you got to say. But don't get mad when I ask about it, because that's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do. Hope that helps. But as far as being angry at you, I'm not. Don't think that. I'm always playing into the madness, and I'm always pushing for some kind of content. That's the job. Don't take it any other way. Diego says Hillary Clinton is evil. All of them that believe that global initiative is evil. All of them. Diego says, what is your opinion about Trump declaring the cartels as terrorist organizations? They are terrorist organizations. I think that's kudos. That's exactly what he's supposed to do. Lock them all up, throw them all back to Mexico. Sorry. Anybody that entreats the world with terror is a terrorist. And if you don't think they're terrorists, try to go and interrupt their business or cross the border into their territory or something like that. You find out. Bill Bennett says, good night, guys. I hope to see you all this weekend. God bless you all. Sweet dreams. Bill, have a great night. God bless you. I enjoyed the conversation. Thanks for your contribution. We'll see you Friday. Diego says, what's your Christian take on deportations, Jake? My Christian take? I don't have a Christian take. I have a take. I am a Christian, so I guess that's a Christian take. If you're in the country illegally, you need to be booted out. They need to arrest you and take you back to your country because that's where you belong. What do you mean? What is my take on deportations? I think if you're here legally, you're a citizen and you have every right to be here. This is your country. If you are not, you are an interloper, a hijacker. You are a stowaway. And you know what you do with stowaways? You throw them overboard when you catch them. That's just the way it is. Patty says, good night, Mr. Bill. Amanda says, it's great, Diego, because they fall under a tougher law category now. I think ICE is doing a fantastic job. And so is the military that's down there, the National Guard and whatnot. I think they're doing a great job protecting our country. Was what they should have been doing from the get-go. Amanda says, good night, Bill. And Amanda says, if you didn't come here legally, then you get kicked out. You broke the law and don't belong here. Period. It is a federal crime to cross the border without papers. That makes you a felon. You are breaking the law by entering the country without papers. There is a door. Go to the door. Knock on the door. There's somebody there that will give you papers and let you in. It may take a while. You may have to learn some stuff and pass a test, but you can get in. Might cost a little bit, but you can get in. They want you to come in. You go across the Rio Grande, you're going to get caught, and you're going to get sent back to where you came from. Simple. You're lucky that's what happens. If you do that shit in other countries, they'll just shoot you. Mr. P says, shoot down, while at the same time proclaiming I can know nothing about Putin, but you know everything about the Ukrainians. I never said I knew anything about the Ukrainians. What are you talking about? You're hearing things I didn't say. Go back and listen to this conversation. I know the talking points. What is on TV, which I said from the get-go, is most certainly a lie. Didn't I say that? I've said it 1,000,000 times in this podcast. And I have also said I don't know anything about either one of those people except for what I've seen. Now, I have seen Zelensky actually do interviews. I've only seen one interview with Putin, and that was a weak one with Tucker Carlson. He did push a little, but a lot of questions didn't get asked. But I've never seen anything else other than still shots of him. So I don't know anything about Putin. I do know what I saw with Zelensky in meetings that he's done here. He's been on Time Magazine, for God's sakes. So what do you mean I claim I know everything about the Ukrainians? That is clearly not true. And I never said you didn't know anything. I asked you what you knew. That's different. Asking you what you know is not the same thing as saying you don't know shit. See the difference in those two things? For example, you say Ukrainians are communist Nazis. Your words, exactly. You want to talk about the communists that are actually practicing communism as Nazis with swastikas and everything that are actually walking in the streets and doing things in Ukraine? You need to go look. You need to go look. Over here in this country, the Daily Show guy, Jon Stewart, gave an award to one of those Nazis, who is clearly a Nazi. Go look at his profile pictures and look at the stuff he espouses on social media. I'm not saying something out of turn here. They are our Nazis in Ukraine. They are communist. That's not my opinion. That's what they are. So, for an example, my words were correct. Walter says Russia was our only ally in the Civil War, allied in WW2 first to sign on with George Bush's coalition of the willing, a great trade partner in the late 80s and early 90s. Why are we not on good terms now? Probably because from about 2005, somewhere in that area, the Democrats started talking shit about Russia, and they kept elevating it every year until they were right out in bald face on TV calling him the devil and saying all kinds of propaganda things about Russia, all the sanctions and all the nonsense. And then the different meetings were, how about the reset button? How about that? How about inviting Putin to the table for NATO 3 times and not showing up all 3 times when he went in good faith? I know that happened. That was under Bill Clinton. He dismissed them, basically. And so from that regime forward, we started becoming enemies with Russia. We as a country led by Democrats. Why they did that, I can only imagine. I would assume it has something to do with mineral rights and oil and property or something money. But I don't know. I don't know why they're doing that. I know if I was a country and people were talking trash about me on TV forever, I would be upset about it. I don't know what that means. I don't know why we're not on good terms other than we don't take Russia seriously. We think they're a paper tiger and we think we can get away with taking what's theirs. I don't know. America's not the big good guy. It never has been for a long time. It was during WW2, Vietnam, Gulf War, all that stuff. We're not the good guys in those situations. These are battles God did not tell us to go fight. And when you go fight wars that God don't tell you to go fight, you lose them. That's how it works. I don't know why. John says, well, look at the Vietnam War. See, they used to smuggle drugs and coffins into countries. Yeah. And Dana says, Jake, you are awesome. Thumbs up and smiley faces. Thank you, ma'am. I try. Walter says, any thinking person should believe that all top party leadership has sold American out. Both sides of the aisle. Yeah, America has been parted and sold out for a very long time. It is not the shining city on the hill that Reagan promised us. It did not turn out that way. Hopefully we can drag it back into that lane, but right now we're part of the New World Order, and that's the way it's been going for the last 25 years that I know of. Mr. P says, what in the world is a communist Nazi? I'm done. No point. What? What in the world is a communist Nazi? Do you know what a Nazi is? It's a national socialist. Socialism and communism are the same thing. Anyway, there was a point. You just didn't get it. I'm sorry. And you're done with what? There's no argument here. I have not attacked you. I have not said you were wrong about anything. I asked a question. What do you mean by that? That's the only question I asked. I have not said you were wrong about anything. If you are wrong about things, it's because you're wrong about those things. I didn't make you that way. What are you done with me about? That doesn't make any sense. You're right. There is no point to that argument. It's an argument I'm not having. I don't understand what we're doing here. If you're trying to tell me that I can talk about anything I want to talk about except what you disagree with, that's a problem. You understand? We have to talk about it. It's happening in the world. Talking about it brings it to light. Everybody has information that everybody else don't have. That's why a big community is powerful, because everybody contributes what they know, and then a consensus is made, and then everybody knows a little something more. That's what we're doing here. It's not about who's right. It's not about whether I'm right or not. I'm not trying to be right. I'm just telling you what I think. I said that at the very beginning of this show. It's my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right. I don't understand what you're mad about, because I haven't said anything untowards in your direction at all, other than asking you what you meant. And if that'll piss you off, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. That's a you problem, not a me problem. You can ask me what I mean all the time, and I'll answer you immediately, because what I mean is what I mean. No strings attached, no hidden agendas, no thinking I'm right about everything. I just think what I think. That's why people like me, I think. John H. says, nothing personal in this chat. It's friendly debate. Right. Nothing personal. I'm not trying to attack you personally. I'm sorry if you took it that way. I didn't mean it that way. I'm telling you to your face, as a man, I'm not attacking you. I don't care what you believe. I don't care if you're right and I'm wrong. I don't care if I'm right and you're wrong. That's not what this debate is about. We're just sharing ideas. That's it. It's the only thing I'm bringing to the table. Mr. P says, not taking it personally. I'm responding to the energy that's being reciprocated, a reciprocal universe after all, right? Correct. Yes, it is. And what energy would that be? Because, again, I'm not attacking. Somebody just gets butthurt about Ukraine. That's fine. I don't care about that country. If it fell off the map today, would not hurt my feelings. If it became the ruler of the world today, would not hurt my feelings. It's not my problem. But it is what's in the news, and that's what we're talking about. And if that makes anybody mad, I'm sorry. If it were any other country, I'd be talking about it too. Kind of wish it was, because I'm getting kind of sick of hearing about it, but that's beside the point. Also, my opinion. Dana says, Putin is also a lawyer. He is very intelligent. Even Bill Clinton said Putin is an extremely intelligent man. He is. I looked last night at his, resume, his list of appointments or accomplishments or titles. It's like the length of my arm. The guy has done a lot of stuff. He's been around a long time. Whether he's good or bad, he knows a lot of stuff. Walter says, Taiwan was never, ever part of China. Okay. The national Chinese government under Qin Shi fled to Taiwan and has been operating like they were in exile. Well, if that's true, why is there a one China policy to exclude Taiwan? Why does everybody in Taiwan speak Chinese, Mandarin, or Cantonese, one or the other? Why is that? Why do they say that they are part of China's rule? Why does the CCP exclude Taiwan if they're not part of the same thing? These are questions. I'm not saying you're wrong, Walter. I'm just asking a question. Why do you think that? Mr. P says, yes, Walter. They fled a brutal communist hierarchy. Amy Elizabeth says, hello. Hey, Amy. Amanda says, I'm a ogre. Really? You want to sleep with the cats tonight? LOL. Well, I own the bed, so that would be weird. Monkey Juice, what's up, buddy? He says, anyone who believes Putin is not a dictator, moron. Really? Again, why do you think that? What does dictator mean exactly? Amanda says, hi, Monkey Juice, long time no see. Amy Elizabeth says, liked, shared, and invited some friends. Right on. Hey, Amy, how you doing, sweetie? Amanda says, glad you're here, Monday. Fab needs some support. Monkey. Glad you're here, Monkey. Yeah, Fab needs some backup. He don't have enough Democrats in the room, so glad you're here. Hang on, my chat jumped again. Man, you guys are going off tonight. Crazy. Monkey Juice says, Ukraine gave birth to Russia 900 years ago. Do your research. Wow. I don't even know how to respond to that. That is so not correct. Walter says, yes, Amanda, Jake was pretty brave on that one. She knows I'm joking. Monkey Juice says, hi, Amanda. Mr. P says, smiley, 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 smiley. Angela Ashkins, hello, darling. Long time no see. She says, hi, all. I thank you, Amy S. Amy says, how long was it in labor? Right on. How long was Ukraine in labor when it birthed Russia? And what did that Roos guy have to say about it? Somebody needs to buy a map. Amy Elizabeth, I read that one. Amanda says, right, Walter? That's what I'm saying. Amy Elizabeth says, hugs, Angel. Monkey Juice says, Zelensky, democracy. Putin, communism. You pick. Well, both of those are incorrect. Putin's not a communist. Zelensky is not a democracy. Or Ukraine is not a democracy. I don't know what you're smoking, but that's not right. Amanda says, hi, Angela. And Amanda says, hi, Amy. Walter Davis says, hey, Antonia. Antonia? Antonio? Antonio. Amy Elizabeth says, I picked the USA. Right, me too. That was my point entirely. Mr. P says, Antonio. Monkey Juice says, Putin targets civilians. Where you been? Everyone targets civilians. That's the definition of the word war. Where you been? Stop watching MSDNC and look at reality. That shit'll rot your brain, dude. Amanda says, Walter, he might need a room on your boat, LOL. Just kidding. Amy Elizabeth says, Zelensky so democratic he canceled the election, right? That's democracy for you. Power to the people. Oh, I forgot. I canceled the elections and closed down churches and media. Anybody that doesn't tote the party line, that's democracy for you. Mr. P says, same here, Amy. Monkey Juice says, Ukraine Constitution states no elections during wartime. Fact, look it up. They don't have a constitution. We have a constitution. They have a piece of paper written by the guy in charge who probably wrote it after he canceled the elections. Look it up. Amy Elizabeth says, Zelensky, he's a dictator too. What does the word dictator mean? Because apparently Trump's a dictator and Putin's a dictator and Zelensky's a dictator and the guy in Canada's a dictator. Who's not a dictator? And if everybody's a dictator, why does that matter? Dictator. What does that mean? What are you saying when you're saying he's a dictator? In times of war, says Mr. P, you don't allow Russian-backed opponents to take control of your country. Well, you do realize that half of the people that live in Ukraine are Russian citizens and speak Russian. Half. There is a subset of another group there, but they're kind of small, and then there are what they call the Ukrainians, which is different. I would agree that in times of war, you don't let the person you're at war with take control of your country. That's called war. True. But war needs to solve a problem. Nobody can even define what the problem is because nobody wants to look at what the problem was caused by. So it goes on and on and on and on. Nobody can explain why we need to keep sending them money. Nobody can explain why Zelensky's on Time magazine. Nobody can explain why Putin wants to go in there in the first place. Everybody just keeps saying war, war, war. So we have conversations to try to solve this problem. Simple. War cannot continue. It needs to solve a problem and end, because if it doesn't end, everybody dies. Then there's no country to save. What then? Monkey Juice says, how's that, Amy? Because Trump said so? What are you talking about? Because he's doing dictatorish things like canceling elections, like ending media, like arresting preachers at church, like conscripting old people and throwing them into the front lines. All those kind of things. That's very dictatory. When our country does it, it's dictatory too. Walter Davis says, hey, Amy, Mr. P says, therefore, martial law. Amy says, look it up. Do some research. Bad way to argue a point. I'm not your secretary. Do your own stuff. I've got enough to do. Right on. Yeah, this look it up thing just proves that you don't know what you're talking about. Because if you knew what you were talking about, I wouldn't have to look it up. You would tell me when I asked, what are you talking about? Muggy Juice says Putin has dirt on Trump. Russia golden showers. That's bullshit. That was made bullshit 5 years ago. You were vastly behind the times, Muggy Juice. Get up with the program. The Steele dossier was a fake paid for by Hillary Clinton. Go away with that nonsense. Russia, Russia, Russia. That's why we're on bad terms with Russia, because of Hillary Clinton and her group. Patty says, I don't think we can have elections during war. Yes, we can. There's been quite a few presidents elected during wartime. FDR was one of them, I think. It might have been the other one. Roosevelt. I can't remember whichever one was in power during World War II. Might have been Eisenhower. I can't remember. One of them was elected during World War II. And there's been other elections while war was going on. While Vietnam was going on, there were elections. Angela Ashkin says, Monkey Juice, but he can have an election if he wants to. He doesn't really have to. He has a right not to. That's a fact. Amy Elizabeth says, like a record stuck. Repeat it enough and you'll believe it eventually. I guess. Mr. P says, I still love you, Jake. Well, I still love you, too. I'd hate to think that a petty argument over politics that doesn't involve the country we live in would end a relationship. That's kind of stupid, isn't it? Nobody's even espousing that, I hope. I love you, too. And I don't care what you believe, as I said earlier. That's not going to stop me. That's not why I like you, so that's not what's going to stop me from liking you. So I hope you feel the same way. I still love you, Jake. We're all good. If we can agree on 98% of subjects, I'm not going to be angry with you over the damn thing. Thank you. I appreciate that, and that's the way it should be. And what's wrong with having a spirited debate? Friends do it all the time. Why does politics end friendships? That's retarded. That's one of the things I'm trying to solve by talking about it. So I hope that you'll join me in talking about it, whether you agree with my position or not, and talk about it, because that's what's important, that we talk about it and take the air out of this thing that has gotten in everybody's brains. Part of the problem. Yes. Walter Davis says, regardless of who wins, Ukraine will not exist. It should end soon. I agree with that, partially. I think Ukraine will continue to exist, although I think BlackRock will probably own it. But other than that, I agree. It should end very soon. People are dying at an alarming rate. It needs to stop. And Mr. P says, it sure does make for a good show. Exactly, which is what I'm here to do, put on a good show. And I hope that everybody's entertained by our shenanigans. And I hope at the end of it all, much like me and Fab Daddy, we can shake hands and be buddies, because this is just a conversation. And again, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. When I hit end, this all goes out of my head and I start thinking about sleeping. Amy Elizabeth says, if Trump were on that list, it would have been released a long time ago. True. You can believe that. 100% you can believe that. If Trump was on that list, nobody would be trying to hide it. By the way, he was on that plane once, and he admitted it. And what the deal was is billionaires hang out with billionaires, and he was going somewhere, and he was offered a ride, so he went. He didn't know what Epstein was up to. He also invited Epstein to Mar-a-Lago. And at Mar-a-Lago, he discovered what Epstein was up to, and he kicked him out and never invited him back again. And that is all on tape. You can go see it happen somewhere. I've seen it, but I don't know if they're pushing it around because it supports the narrative Trump's a good guy and nobody wants that. But I did see it a long time ago. But you're right. If Trump was on that list, it would be national headlines on every newspaper. If Trump was guilty of jaywalking, it would be national headlines on every newspaper. That's the point. He is the most vetted human being to have ever lived. If there was anything in his closet, they'd have it. The fact that they're still making up conspiracies that fall flat a couple of months later should tell you volumes. After, 16 years? Mr. P says, okay, Jake, before Ukraine war began, Putin was politically maneuvering and had hackers carefully crafting the narrative and to give Russia a reason to invade. How come he didn't invade until the whole NATO thing when Biden was in office? How come he didn't invade while Trump was in office? These are questions I'm asking because I don't know the answer to them, not because I'm trying to prove you wrong or poke holes in your narrative, because I'm sure he's guilty of all that, as are we. But how come he didn't do it? Walter Davis says, after the fall of the Soviet Union, the Russian mafia took over. It was a complete mayhem. Putin tossed them out and brought order, ended inflation, brought stability, trade deals with America. This is all true, but that's what a leader does for his country. Equally, just so you know, Hitler did the same thing. He was a great leader until he lost his mind. You can track the trajectory. He was a good leader. He did great for Germany. He did everything right, and then he went crazy and got on that shit, started smoking that glass pipe, and next thing you know, he was trying to rule the world. That's when he went crazy. Amy says, Russia, Russia, Russia. Monkey Juice says, Putin wants the Soviet Union back. Ask Poland. You ever heard of Belarus? You realize that Russia already has troops in Poland, and if he wanted to take over it, he could do it very easily. You do understand that, right? Do you understand that that's a lie told to you by a Democrat-ran network called CNN? That's not true. There is no political interest in Russia taking over Poland. They have nothing to offer him. Patty says, well, I will never believe there was a moon landing. Well, you don't have to, because what you saw on TV wasn't real. I don't know whether we went to the moon or not. I'd say we probably did. But I can promise you with 100% certainty that it was not televised on national TV around the world the first time we did it. You do realize NASA is a military organization ran by generals. It is not a civilian organization ran by computer nerds. So, if a general decided to go to the moon because of its strategery, to quote the great George Bush, they're not going to tell everybody what the strategic plan is. That's stupid. And while there are some stupid generals, there weren't that many of them back in the 60s. At least back then they had brains. Walter says, he asked to be in NATO, gave his nuclear weapons to America to keep them safe. He is not the bad guy. Well, I know he was at the table 3 times to join NATO and was brushed off all 3 times by our country. Now, why is that? Why did that happen? If he showed up in good faith, why did they brush him off like he wasn't there? That would have been Clinton that did that, and you can look that up, just so you know. And now he made the statement that he didn't want to be surrounded by NATO because they were not a trustworthy group that had brushed him off 3 times, which is why he had that position. He didn't want to be surrounded by NATO. And that's why he said that if they joined NATO, Ukraine, he was going to invade and take over Ukraine. which is exactly what he did. Much like Trump, he did exactly what he said he was going to do. People don't like it when that happens for some reason. I don't know whether he's the bad guy or we're the bad guy. I'd say nobody's good in this fight. I'd say it's bad on both sides. But I don't know the answer to that question. That's just something we have to debate and talk about and see who knows what. Because one thing I can tell you is all the hyperbole that goes on with the people believing this and that and the other, the truth is somewhere in the middle of all that. It's not that hyperbolic. It's just a thing that people do. It's called herd mentality. Mr. P says Poland, United Kingdom, U.S., German, and French covert forces all reported this pre-war, so I'm not real quick to jump on the aggressor's side. Again, there was no aggression, whether they reported he was doing this or not. He didn't do it until the NATO thing. Why? That's all I'm saying. He is the aggressor. He did invade Ukraine, which, you know, some countries are wanting to do. We've done it too. Have you looked at Libya? Have you looked at Iran? Have you looked at Afghanistan? Have you looked at Iraq? Have you looked at all the places overseas that we're currently invading? How come nobody's mad about that or even talks about it? Some don't even know about it. But we're worried about what Putin is doing in Ukraine. Why? Why do we care if he invades Ukraine or not? Yet nobody's ever answered that question. Why does that matter to us? Amanda says, right, Patty, because if there was, we would have been back 100 times already. And so many other things that don't match up. That dog won't hunt. Yeah. The moon thing. Right. Yeah, it don't add up. Some things that the government tells us just don't add up. Especially when you start asking questions. And the one thing that people that are trying to spin a narrative don't like is when you ask questions because they are not prepared to answer those questions. Like, how did they have a conversation on a telephone, a landline telephone, from the surface of the moon, despite the fact that they did not carry a transponder of any kind or a satellite dish of any kind to send said signal to any satellite dish on Earth? The only connection they had was with Houston. And that was a very, if you've ever listened to the recordings, very limited, and only when they were in view could they communicate. When they were on the dark side, or when the Earth passed them by, when Houston went around to the backside of the Earth, they could not communicate. So explain to me how they converted that in 1969, that digital signal, into a landline signal, which was in real time on national television, on a conversation with the president in the White House. And then 40 years later, they added an 8-second delay to it because something we learned that we did not know in 1969 is that it takes 8 seconds for a radio signal to move from the moon to the Earth. We also didn't know in 1969 about the Van Allen radiation belts which surround the Earth that we seem to go right through but can't do it today because it will kill you. Interesting. I don't know about that. We didn't know about it then, so we could do it, I guess. Amy says, I listen to both sides of the media. I leave my comfort zone so I don't fall into an echo chamber. Well, I used to, but I got tired of screaming at the TV, so I turned it off because all of the news media is on one side, except for a couple of little places, and they are shot down every chance they get. So I started listening to alternative media and looking for sources so that I can get my information from the source, like the news does, before they spin it, so that I can see what the actual story is. And that's harder to do than it sounds, but you also don't get as much of it because there's a lot less of it to go around, but it's the smarter way to consume news, I think. Monkey Juice says he gave his nukes to Russia in 1999. Who did? Who did what now? Who gave Russia nukes in 99. I think if you're talking about America, you'll probably go back further and see that was the nukes that were given to America for safekeeping. Linda says, Amanda, if Walter doesn't remember how to use his fingers to call me, he's going to be sharing the boat with Jake. Oh, snap. Call your wife, Walter. Amanda says, LOL, damn, Linda. Amy says, Walter, fingers, Davis. Nice. We're just starting forest fires all over the place tonight, ain't we? That's all right. I love y'all. And by the way, Batshit Crazy hits me with a $1 super chat. I didn't say it because I was in the middle of a debate. But thank you, Batshit Crazy. I appreciate the $1 super chat. Thank you very much. Hey, guys. Speaking of that, hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm going to be online. Smash that like button. It's free. It's effortless. It's right in front of you, and it really does help the channel with the algorithms. It helps us get recommended to other people. Won't you do that, please? Share this video with people you love. Better yet, share it with people you don't love. Bring them into the family. Make them part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me. Drink my Kool-Aid. Make your own Kool-Aid as long as you're thinking critical. That's what I want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you love what you hear tonight, you love the spirit of the debate, you love the fireworks going off all over the place, and you want to see more of it, consider joining the channel or leave a super chat, buy a t-shirt, do something like that. The all no shirts are out and they are in the chat somewhere. Right here, hang on. There you go. If you want one, get one. If you don't, that's fine, however you want to go about it. But if you really want to help out, you can go to paypal.me/JakeJohnsonBand or Cash App, $JakeJohnsonBand. Every little bit helps. It is a win-win. It is a blessing for me. It is a blessing for you too, because we do in fact live in a reciprocal universe. I will do everything in my power to be worthy of that support. As always, I will answer all of your questions and comments as I always do right now. Now let me get to the bottom of this chat so I can go to bed. Been a long day. Amy Elizabeth, I read that one. Amanda says, Walter, call your wife or you're going to be in trouble. Mr. P says, you've said many times that no Russian structure or soil even has a scratch. I've never said that at all. That's not this podcast, if you're talking to me. To this day, the only fighting Ukraine has done is to reclaim lands lost in the initial invasion. You mean Crimea? Amy Elizabeth says, the Bible says to obey the laws of the land. Yes, it does. Well, actually, what it says is, whose face is on that coin? Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and unto God what is God's. Now, the brilliant part of that is everything is God's, even Caesar. So, give your stuff to Caesar, give yourself to God. That's the brilliance there. And Mr. P hits me with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Mr. P. God bless you, sir. He says, much love to you all, Dems and liberals too. That's right, everybody. You're all welcome here. And I appreciate that. Thank you very much, John. I appreciate you. But I've never said that Russia didn't have a scratch. That doesn't even make any sense. Of course they have a scratch. They tried to kill Putin with a drone strike to the Kremlin. They blew up the roof. That's a strike or a scratch. Amy Elizabeth says the Bible's... I read that one. Dana says, Jake, your channel is very unique because you engage in the conversation with every single one of us. You have exceptionally good social skills. Thank you. Hearts and thumbs up. That's a great compliment. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm trying desperately to communicate with everybody on some kind of level. And I hope that that shows, and I hope that everybody enjoys that enough to keep doing it, and I hope that eventually this channel blows up and gets too big for me to handle and I have to hire other people to do other parts of the show. That'd be fantastic. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but we'll see. Patty says, we can't just get out of prison and walk into another country and begin living life normally. Well, the Mexicans do it. Why can't we? Oh, Dana hit me with a $60 super chat. Thank you, Dana. God bless you, sweetheart. Awesome. Thank you very much. Mr. P says, I feel strongly as an American about that stance. We would do no less, Jake. No less. You feel strongly that the Ukraine has done no fighting other than to reclaim lands lost in the initial invasion. That's what you mean? We would do no less? We would do no less. We would win the fight, but that's America. That's Ukraine. Different countries. And I'm asking why you feel so strongly about it, because I don't really care what happens in Ukraine. I didn't know Ukraine existed until they started talking a lot about it. So my question is why is it so important to us to be part of it? That's the question. Monkey Juice says, damn, he's way behind. I am way behind. I'll get there, though, Monkey Juice. Amanda says, I'm glad Jake has good ginger skills, Linda. That's a racial slur. How dare you say the G word? Only we can say that. What's a ginger skill? Amanda says, I'm about 20 minutes behind, Monkey. And Amy says, ginger skills. Because he's redheaded? Because I'm redheaded. Amanda says, finger skills. Oops. Make up your mind. Am I redheaded or I have magic fingers? Which is it? Amanda says, LOL, Amy. And Amy says, I think you had it right the first time, Amanda. Amen. And Amanda says, well, his mama was and his aunt and his cousins are all fiery redheads. And so am I. I just have a little more Native American in me than they did. So I look a little darker. But believe me, my hair's red on the inside, baby. I'm a red bone if there ever was one. Linda says, I know Walter's fingers work well. I just need him to remember how to use them to work a phone and call me. Call your wife, Walter. Monkey Juice says, hold on, the chat's going to jump. Monkey Juice says, Zelensky is Jewish? How can he be Jewish and a Nazi at the same time? I don't know, ask Hitler. Because his mother was Jewish. It's almost like that's made up nonsense, right? It's almost like people say things all the time that aren't true and get away with it because nobody else knows that it's not true. Like knighthood. Remember knights? You just stroll in somewhere and say, I'm a knight of the third realm of such and such, and nobody would doubt you because nobody knows that's true or not. A lot of people got nobility that way. Ask the Windsors. Wait, what? You do your own research. There's British people here. I'm not stepping over that line. Walter Davis says, Amy, although the Old Testament, everyone asked permission to cross through kingdoms. All through the Old Testament. Yes, they did. They did do that. And Amanda says, LOL. He needs to set an alarm that goes off every day and says, call your wife, LOL. I have 20 alarms on my phone. My girlfriend goes crazy every time my phone rings, but hers sounds like Scooby-Doo and I get the moral high ground. Amy says, thanks, Walter. Great knowledge. Appreciate it. Right on. Monkey Juice says, Trump just wants to save a buck. He doesn't care about Ukraine. I don't either, Monkey Juice. Not even a little bit. I could give a damn about Russia or Ukraine. It means nothing to me. I'm an American. I worry about what's in these borders. And so should the person who runs this country. Amy Elizabeth says, millions spent for a fake dossier. That Steele dossier was totally nonsense. They just made it up. Like everything else. Like I've told you before and you don't listen to me. Everything is bullshit. We live in a carefully crafted facade that is placed before us so that we can see the bread and circuses but not understand what's beyond it. That is the world you live in. Open your eyes and listen to old Jake when I tell you that there's strangeness afoot and the world ain't what it looks like it is. Stop playing into the games and step back and look at everything, and you'll begin to see holes appear in the narrative, and you'll begin to understand over time and much pain and a lot of heartburn that everything you believe is touched by this nonsense fakeness that has surrounded us. Everything. All the way down to the cartoons you watched. It goes all the way back to birth. You can't escape it. You can't run from it. You can't hide from it. You can't jump out of it. You live in the matrix. And the only way you can get out is to open your eyes and see what's right in front of you, because the one thing they cannot do is make you believe the lies they're telling. You'll choose to do that. Or you can choose to wake up and snap out of it. Dana says the mass illegal immigration, I call it foreign invasion, is a huge national security threat to the country. And if allowed by stupid people in charge who don't give a damn about their own country. Right. That's why our president is doing what he can to stop it now. Amy Elizabeth says, Ronald Reagan, tear down this wall, Mr. Gorbachev. Right on. That was a beautiful moment. Followed by a lot of punk rock. Not really sure what that was all about. Linda Davis says, LOL, Amanda and Amy, I'm just busting his chops. I love that man. He knows, and so do we. Amy Elizabeth says, I know Linda. And Amanda says, I know Linda, but it's fun to rag on him every once in a while. She just knows she can do it because my mouth is tied to this microphone. If it were the other way around, we'd be watching TV, I promise. Monkey Juice says, want to end the Ukraine war? Get some balls, Trump, and tell Putin to get out. Yeah, you try that. If you can't have it both ways. Either he's an evil, maniacal dictator with nuclear weapons, or all it takes is some balls to tell him to leave. Which is it? Something don't add up. I say if you want to end the Ukraine war, just send all the hot women under the age of 25 over there topless. Problem solved. Titties end wars. I'm just saying. Ladies, it's your fault. Angela says, Walter, who gave their nuclear weapons up to the USA? That was a good question. Amanda says, Trump has balls of steel. Big balls of steel. Don't believe me? Look at the employee roster of Doge. Amy says, golden balls. Right on. Linda says, true, Amanda. John H. says, good night, everyone. Eyes keep closing. Thanks, Jake and family. Bless you all. Heart, heart. Thank you, John. Thanks for being here. Thanks for putting up with our USA brand of humor. We love you. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time. I'm getting there, fellas. Amanda says, right, Amy? And night, John. Dana says, Nazi is a... ... And Linda says, good night, John. Mr. P says, Jake, we're okay. I'm not done with you. Done with this part, that's all. John, God bless you, sir. I love you. You know that. Monkey Juice says, Zelensky is Jewish? He is. Amy Liv says, AC/DC. I've got big balls. You've got big balls. But we've got the biggest balls of them all. Yeah. Amanda says, LOL, Amy. Linda Davis says, LOL, Amy. And Mr. P says, I need to be more careful with how I'm stating stuff. That's all right. It's all right. We just more information. That's all. Angela says, Monkey Juice, who gave nukes to Russia in 1999? And Amanda says, Russia already possessed nuclear weapons in 1999 as they inherited the vast majority of the Soviet Union's nuclear arsenal when the USSR dissolved, meaning they didn't get their nukes in 1999. Guess where they did get them, though? because we built them. We invented nuclear weapons. Remember that? Where did they get them? From us. Now, ask yourself a question. If you were an enterprising young country and you had all these nuclear weapons and you wanted to sell them to other countries, would you sell them ones that worked? I'm just asking. I'm asking for a friend. Maybe sell them one that has a little guidance missile issue that wouldn't lead them right back to where they came from. Maybe something like that. Maybe make them drop off in the ocean. I'm asking because I saw it in a cartoon once, but I'm pretty sure I could pull it off. Mr. P says, peaches and sad faces. Oh, sorry peaches make you sad. Amy Elizabeth says, eating the rest of my Spanish rice from lunch. Nice. Spanish rice. Mr. P says, Jake sure makes for a good show. Thank you, Mr. P. God bless you, sir. I'm trying. I'm trying real hard. I'm trying, Ringo. I'm trying real hard. You see, I think I'm the righteous man, and you're the wolf. Name that movie. Monkey Juice says, Ukraine handed over nukes to Russia for security, and Russia screwed them over. Dana says, Nazi is an acronym for National Socialist Labor Party, which is what I said earlier. Socialism and communism are the same thing. Fascism is different, not the same. Correct. Fascism, fasci, bundle of sticks, strength in numbers, is not the same as socialism. Socialism always ends in starvation and genocide. That's communism and Marxism all together. People think they are one and the same, unfortunately. Yeah, a lot of people use words they don't really understand because they've heard other people use the same words that they don't understand also. And then we get this big generation of people using words that mean the opposite of what they're using them for, like Antifa. Being fascist does not make you anti-fascist. Walter Davis says, Fab, how many would starve if unconstitutional programs like welfare, housing, and food stamps skipped? As a Christian, can it be supported? Can it be changed? Well, I can answer that question. But that question was directed to Fab Daddy, so. Amy says, I like neither Zelensky nor Putin. Putin is a trained assassin. Zelensky is an unfunny comedian who has disrespectful behavior. I agree on both counts. But the problem I have with that statement, and not by you stating it, but because other people have stated it, is that they missed the fact that our leaders are also trained assassins. And we have the very same thing going on in our country. Why are we downing those people for doing the exact same thing we're doing? It makes no sense. Mr. P says, I'm aware, Dana. I'm not going to spread this out, though. Monkey Juice says, Ukraine had their own nukes once upon a time. I wonder where they got them from. Angela says, Monkey Juice, everybody calls Trump a Nazi, but he is pro-Israel. Walter says, Taiwan and the 126 dialects of mainland Chinese are different. Well, there's actually no such thing as Chinese. It's either Cantonese or Mandarin. We call that Chinese in America, but they don't call it Chinese there. Miss P says, Monkey, unfortunately, the generals sold them off during fighting there. And Mr. P says, Taiwan despises China for many reasons. They'd be very offended. Monkey Juice says, dictator. Ian suppressing their people. Anyone suppressing their people. That's not what dictator means. Sorry, you got that wrong. You're one of those people using words that you don't know what it actually means. Look it up. I'll look it up for you. That way I can't be under Amy's purview. A dictator is a ruler with total power over a country, typically one who has obtained control by force. In ancient Rome, a chief magistrate with absolute power, appointed in an emergency, like Hitler. A person who behaves in an autocratic way. Another word you might want to look up. For some reason, he's being a dictator, saying, this is the way we're going to do it, says the dictionary. So, a dictator is one with complete power over the entire country. It's not about suppression. It's not about slavery. It's not about who has a good idea or a bad idea. It's not about being a bully. It's about having complete power, meaning you have no choice. You do what that guy says or you get your head cut off. That's a dictator. Trump is not one. Putin is not one. Zelensky is not one, although they all act like one from time to time. But neither one of them have complete power over their country. Mr. P says Taiwan is not and has never been Chinese. Okay. I wouldn't visit Taiwan if I were you. Monkey Juice says, you're wrong, Jake. Russia was formed out of Ukraine. Wow. Okay. I wouldn't visit Russia if I were you. Mr. P says, hit that like button and subscribe, everybody. Yes, please do. Please do. And we can continue this conversation into the nth degree, into the ether, into the wild blue yonder. But I have to come to an end at some point or I'm going to pass out in front of you on live TV. So let's get down. I'm halfway. It was right there at the bottom and then it went. So apparently there's more. Walter Davis says, monkey Ukraine nukes came to America, as did most of the Soviet arsenal. There is an international treaty that all Satellite 5 are locked on Russia rockets because they wanted to use the missiles. I don't know what any of that means. Linda Davis says, Walter has inside information about Taiwan. One of his good friends was born and lives there. Nice. Dictator, a strange-shaped potato that resembles a male reproductive part, says Amy Elizabeth. I made a dictator for a science project one time, and I got an F, and it was a potato with a toothpick stuck in it. Dictator. I thought it was funny. You're the only other person I've ever heard make that joke. Thank you. You have single-handedly restored my faith in humanity. Angela says, Walter, I know too many people who have not been honest for their free housing, welfare, and food stamps. To not feel it needs to be gutted and changed. I agree. Welfare was invented during the Jim Crow era to put black people in a higher state of existence so they didn't require a man in the home and they were dependent on the government. Therefore, the government became their daddy. Listen to Lyndon Baines Johnson. He'll tell you exactly why welfare was invented. And it was always intended to be a temporary investment. Now, that being said, welfare has helped many people who desperately needed help, who have been down and could not get back up. They needed an extra hand. And as soon as those people got on their feet, they got off welfare and moved on with their lives. And that is the intended purpose as far as we're concerned. That is not the reason it was invented in the first place, but that's what we've adopted it to be with our way of thinking, which we're not part of that existence at all. I personally think that there should be a welfare for actual needy people. And I think you should be able to prove that you're needy, which shouldn't be hard to do because you don't have anything. I think if you own a Cadillac, you should not be accepted for Medicaid or Medicare or welfare or anything like that, in my opinion. And Amanda says, rolling on the floor, Amy. Yes. And Linda says, I love you, Amy. You definitely brighten up this chat. Absolutely. Walter says, the USA had to figure out how to deal with the enriched uranium made it into bullets, made it into cakes. That's what yellow cake is. Made it into little pucks. You're right. Amanda says, right, Linda, she definitely comes up with some shit. Right on. Monkey Juice says, look up the Minsk Accord. Google it. I'll tell you everything. It'll tell you everything you need to know. I know about the Minsk Accord. Batshit Crazy says, FDR Truman. Right on. And Amanda says, hi, Bat. And Bat says, $1. Thank you very much. God bless you, Batshit Crazy. Thank you. Linda Davis says, hey, Bat. Amy says, hey, Bat. Amanda says, thanks, Bat. Mr. P says, Putin and Trump get along. I'm not faulting them there. I stand by Jake. Even though we don't agree on everything, I still agree on a whole bunch. Thank you, Mr. P. And there's nothing wrong with countries getting along for the sake of diplomacy and for the sake of trade. And also, in order to get involved and stop a war, you have to talk to both sides. You can't just talk to one side like the previous administration did. That's not how you stop a war. You got to get both sides to the table and have some kind of agreement come up. We hadn't got that far yet. We'll see what happens. I don't know if he'll be able to achieve it or not, but hopefully so. Amy says, thanks, batshit crazy. Monkey Juice says, LOL, golden showers happened in 2004. It's not true, Monkey Juice. That was a lie made up by the DNC to discredit Trump so he didn't become president the first time. Trump is a germaphobe and likes everything to be made of gold and does not like to touch things. Golden showers are out of the question. They just used it because it had the word golden in it. But if you think about what that is, there's no way Trump would ever allow that to happen. Germaphobe. Pay attention. Batshit Crazy says, depleted uranium after use. Right on. Amy Elizabeth says, come from the Bible study, stay for the politifacts. The politic facts. Politics. Walter Davis says, Lincoln, Wilson, Johnson, Nixon, FDR, and Bush, all elected during declared war. Eisenhower, Jefferson, not declared war. Gotcha. I didn't know which one it was, but I knew that there had been many elected during wartime, so yes, we can. That goes to Patty. Amy Elizabeth says, come for Bible study. Come for Bible study. Stay for PolitiFacts. Right. Angela says, Amy S. has the best quick wit. It's awesome. Thank you. Mr. P says, you're working hard, brother. I thank you for doing as often as I can, both verbally and financially. Nothing but love for everyone here, even Fab and Muggy. Right on. And thank you. And God bless you. I appreciate you. And don't think just for a minute, just because we have a heated debate, that that's anything less than love. I don't argue with people I don't like. Pay attention when somebody comes in that I don't like and watch how much attention I give them. It happened tonight if you were paying attention. Fab Daddy says, it supposedly happened in 2013, Monkey. Amanda says that. It supposedly happened in 2013. I'm not sure what I think, giving missiles to somebody. Monkey Juice says, I love debate. I know everything about the Ukraine war. Really? You didn't know that Zelensky was a Jew? I'd be cautious to, quote, claim you know everything, unquote. Walter says, Trump pressed charges against Epstein at Mar-a-Lago, and Epstein was found guilty. That should say it all. Amy Elizabeth says, yummy, Code Red Mountain Dew. Nice. I got the regular kind here. I love Mountain Dew. It's the nectar of the gods. Amy Elizabeth says, I read that one. Batshit Crazy says, how about this? Long-term disability due to mental, drug, emotional disorder, etc. Nope. I think we need to reopen insane asylums and put people that need to be in asylums back in asylums. We used to have a thing for that. You couldn't go outside and raise your voice and act like a fool for more than a couple of minutes, and a little white van would pull up. A couple of dudes would get out in white shirts and try to give you a shirt. Hey. Can't act like that around here. There's decent folks. No talking to trees. Put that back in your mouth. Get your finger out of there. You don't know where that finger's been. Hey, have you tried our shirt? Come on now. Yeehaw. Amanda says, I like Livewire orange. Yes, it's the orange Mountain Dew. That's a good one. It tastes like Crush because it's Crush, just under a Mountain Dew brand. But it's good. Mr. P says, there were reasons across the board, Amanda, not June 2013. Not just 2013. Batshit Crazy says, lose voting rights. Why not? I don't think you should be able to vote if you're a felon. I personally don't think you should be able to vote unless you own land or own some kind of property and have a job. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. I'm sure there's holes in that opinion. I hadn't thought it through entirely. But on the surface, it makes sense to me because landowners have an invested venture into the world they live in. People that mooch don't. So I'm sure there's holes in it, and I'm sure there's reasons why everybody needs to vote. But I'm saying, on the surface at least, without any critical thought put into it, maybe only people that have an invested interest in the country should vote for the things that happen in the country. Like farmers, which is what I'm thinking about in that chaotic thought there. I'm sure there's holes in it, though, but don't take me seriously, but I'm half-hearted in that camp. I'm also kind of sure by watching YouTube and TikTok that women don't want the right to vote, so maybe there's that. That's a joke, by the way. I saw a girl on TikTok the other day crying, tears streaming down her face. She's in her car like the liberals. And she's saying, I'm so upset. Donald Trump has been in office for a whole month. And y'all told me that I would lose my rights, and I haven't lost one. I've got to go to work today. I haven't lost one of my rights. I thought that was funny. Amy says, Amanda, that's a good one. The grape one. I haven't seen a grape one. Are you talking about the Volt? Because that's not grape. I like grape. If they have a grape one, I'd like to try it. And Amanda says, 2013 was the golden shower, supposedly. Yeah, it's nonsense. That whole dossier was invented out of whole cloth by a guy named John Christmas or something like that. Some random, totally fake name. I can't remember what it is now. I think it's that one, but it might be something else like that. Kevin Cox, what's up, brother? Hey, Kev, nice to see you. How's April? Mr. P says, hiya, Kev. Linda Davis says, hey, Kevin. And Amanda says, I've come to the conclusion I need an intervention. I'm addicted to peppermint candy. I've been telling you that. Stop eating them. Amanda says, hi, Kevin. Kevin Cox says, hey, Amanda, Mr. P, and Linda. Mr. P says, NASA is overseen by the vice president. It's not technically a military organization anymore. I didn't say it was anymore. I said it was in 1969. It's part of the Air Force, NASA, National Aeronautics Space Association or organization or whatever it is. NASA. Needs another 7 astronauts. Whatever. Not a sound aircraft. What? Have you ever seen the Moonlander? It looks like it was made by a meth head with a roll of duct tape. I'm not joking. Go look at it. You can see close-up pictures of it now. Amy Elizabeth says, clocked out and driving home. Still listening. Be careful. Don't jake and drive. Mr. P says, back then, though, in 1969, it was. Yes, it was. Linda Davis says, be safe, Amy. Monkey Juice says, doesn't want NATO on his border for sure. True. Amanda says, be safe, Amy. Kevin Cox says, I watched Trump's speech to Congress last night on C-SPAN. It was awesome. If you did not see it, watching it on a rerun is a good idea. I agree, 100%. It was fantastic. No matter how you think about Trump, that was a great speech. Amanda says, it was great, Kevin. Very funny. Mr. P says, Trump's my guy. I didn't see anyone offended. I didn't see anyone offered up by the Dems who even came close to his big balls. So I voted for him. Agreed. Me too. Me too. Mainly I agreed because he wasn't what they were. That's why I voted with him. Because I wanted something different, and I figured as long as I got to put my voice in it, I'm going to vote for the opposite of whatever's going on right now. And so that's why I knew he was a bull in the china shop. I knew he was politically incorrect, and I voted for him because of that. Amanda says, right, Mr. P. Monkey Juice says, my eggs and gas is still high. How about talking about that? Okay. You have to have the chickens to get the eggs. You understand that? Today, Donald Trump brought in $3 million worth of eggs from Canada to lower the price. Or he did something with eggs in Canada to lower the price. But it takes time to change the economy. You see, Biden ordered the killing off of thousands of chickens, which drove the egg prices up because of the bird flu, which has been around since the 80s and hadn't killed all the chickens yet. And I have no idea whether there's any science to back up that bird flu can transmute into eggs because they have a hard shell and are not technically part of the chicken. So whatever, but that's neither here nor there. It takes time to fix things that are in the economy. The gas is high because he sold off all of our reserves and he cut off all the pipelines that bring gas to us. All that has to be rebuilt and re-upped. It takes time. Give it a year and then bitch about the gas prices. He's only been president for 45 days. He's done more in 45 days than any president in their entire term in human history. Give him a little time. That good enough? Amy says, I cried when the 13-year-old boy got the honorary placement into the Secret Service. Him and Elvis are the only two people that have that honorary badge. So that's pretty awesome. As far as I know. There might be others, but I think those are the only two. Kevin Cox says, because the war could turn global, do not want World War III. Right. Don't want any war that we're a part of, especially World War III. Monkey Juice says, I need details and numbers on making America great again. Okay. I believe they've been given. I don't have time tonight, but go out onto the interwebs and look up Social Security numbers under Doge and see what you see there. There's some numbers that'll make America great again. Go look at everything Doge has done. That's just Doge. That's just the Office of Government Efficiency. Just look at what they've done. There are billions of dollars right there that will make America great again. So there's numbers and details. That's just in one place. There are many places, but that's just one of them. Go look at it. Amy Elizabeth says, Rome wasn't created in a day. Neither are economic issues. They won't be solved in a day either. Right. It takes time to solve these problems. Monkey Juice says, oh, it's different now that Trump's in office. No, it's not. It's exactly the way it's always been, whether Trump or Biden was in office or Clinton or anybody else. You're just now seeing it. That makes it feel different to you, but it's exactly the same as it was when Biden took office. He was able to do a lot of things in the first week of his office too, but many things never got changed, such as the building of the wall, which he continued after a while. He did try to sell it off at pennies on the dollar, but at the end, they reinstated the building of the wall, which is a Trump thing. He also kept a lot of Trump's policies that Trump signed into order, but he got rid of all of them that had to do with their little deal. It's really weird. Amanda says, Monkey, Trump just had $3 million in eggs brought into the U.S. today. He's working on it. And he's about to start drill, baby, drill. And gas will come way down. Hell, he's only been in office for 6 weeks. She said it better than I did because I'm tired. Kevin Cox says, our economic issues cannot be fixed without some serious hardships. True. It's going to take time, and there's going to be some ups and downs. But he is working on it, unlike the last administration who did absolutely nothing. Also, you're getting press conferences on a daily basis now. You were not getting that then. Remember, it was just last year. Linda Davis says, well, Monkey, the chickens have to grow up and lay eggs, and the oil reservoirs are depleted, so we have to drill and get that pipeline done again, started up again. Dana says, what would Russia gain from occupying a looted Europe full of fools? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Russia is interested in selling raw materials and not war. Agreed. Dana says the Europeans are the ones again who want to get Russia. History repeats. They will never learn. True. Yeah, if you really look at the details of what's going on and what happened before it and what's happening now, it is not Russia that is trying to attack the global world. He's not trying to be the next Hitler. He's just interested in Russia. He's not interested in Poland or England or anything else. It's not going to happen because that's not in his interest. Just look at the world and look who's actually pushing all of this nonsense. We're the ones, and they're the ones trying to start World War III, not Russia. Monkey Juice says Trump added $8 billion to the deficit his first time out, as do all other presidents. Watch and see what he does with it this time. Remember, his presidency was cut in half. He intended to be here for 8 years. He only got 4. So give him this term and see what he does to finish what he started. Now that he's put everything he put to start with back in place, pulled us back out of the Paris Accord, Paris Agreement and all that stuff, watch and see what he does. If he succeeds, isn't that what you want? Don't you want our country to succeed? Or do you want it to fail? Because it sounds like you want it to fail because he's our president. Seems like you should be rooting for him. I digress. Amanda says, Monkey, what about the trillions and trillions of dollars Biden pissed away on total bullshit? Yeah. Trump did raise the deficit $8 billion. How much money did we send to Ukraine? How much money was spent on other countries doing stupid things? I don't think $8 billion is that much money. Kevin Cox says, I spent trillions at the casino, Amanda. I believe you. And you've only sent me hundreds. No, I'm just kidding. Mr. P says, interesting you say looted, Dana. Sure seems as if he plans to loot plenty from Ukraine. Hitler started with Poland, ended up with virtually all of the European continent. Well, Hitler and Putin are not the same person or the same team or the same party or the same ideology. And Germany is not Russia. And Ukraine is not England. So you're drawing comparisons that don't exist. Mr. P, I thought I was talking to Monkey. Sorry. Same point, but to you. Amanda says, I know you do, Kev. I've seen it, LOL. Right on. You enjoy those casinos. You have every right. You work hard for that money. Walter Davis says, 1969 FM transmission that was being fought in patent courts. That's how communication with the moon. I understand that FM transmission existed. They did not bring a transceiver with it. You can go on the NASA website and see everything they took with them on that mission. And none of it sends signals big enough to reach Earth. None of it. There's no transmitter. There's no antenna. It's not there. There's no battery pack. It takes a lot of power to send an FM signal to a landline. So somebody's not telling the truth. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying that somebody put forth some information that wasn't entirely correct. Sorry, it didn't happen. Amanda says, I'm going to call you moneybags, Kevin. Oh. Monkey Juice says, my bad, I meant 8 trillion. That's what I said. Oh, billion. I got you. Walter Davis says, good night, all. Thanks, Jake. Walter, God bless you, sir. Thank you. I'm trying to get to the bottom. I love you. See you next time. Amanda says, good night, Walter. Mr. P says, $2. Much love to all of you. Dems and liberals, too. Right on, and thank you. God bless you, Mr. P. Amanda says, shirt's not coming up yet. That's the on sticker. Okay, well, look through the store. It's there. I promise. Maybe I got the wrong link, but it's in the store. Just go to Teespring, Jake Johnson Band store. It's there. Or go on YouTube. There's a link to the store at the bottom there on my page. It's there. It just isn't showing up yet, I guess. Amanda says, we love you too, Mr. P, and thank you, heart. Patty says, so was FM being peddled in 1969? Well, we had AM and FM in 1969, but broadband FM, if you know anything about FM, cannot reach the moon. Not without a transmitter and an antenna, which they didn't have. Kevin Cox says, it is hard to believe that Clinton, Bill, not Hillbilly, had a balanced budget, and now we are trillions in debt. Yeah, well, we did a lot of stuff between then and now. Mr. P says, I'd give more, but I'd have to do a bank transfer, and it's better I wait until Friday. Jake can get it. Thank you, sir. I do get it. I understand. And thank you. That's plenty. Just showing a little love is plenty enough. I appreciate it. Amanda says, Trump is going to balance us out again, Kevin. I hope he will. I hope that he's successful in all that he endeavors to do. I don't know that he will be, but I hope he will be. Mr. P, instead of paying fees. Right on. Amanda says, you're good, Mr. P. Dana says, $60. Thank you, Dana. God bless you, sweetheart. I love you. Appreciate the support. Amanda says, Dana, you're amazing. We love you and thank you so much, heart. I agree. Mr. P says, always 20 up in me, Dana. Cementabits? I don't know what that word means. Cementabits. Thanks, Dana. Cementabits? Jordan Scott Mills, long time no see. How you doing, brother? Jordan says, hey, chat. Amanda says, I work here for free, says Amanda. No, you don't. I feed you. Mr. P says, America ain't Ukraine, buddy. True. Mr. P says, or 30 up in me. Amanda says, hi, Jordan. Jordan says, hey, Amanda. Mr. P says, Jordan. Jordan Scott Mills says, I'm so glad I finally caught it. I'm glad you did, too. We've been missing you around here. Where you been? I'm trying to get to the bottom, so I apologize for being quick, but I'm trying to make it because it keeps growing and it's getting late, so it's already midnight. Jordan says, hey, John, what's up, brother? And I got to work in the morning. Amanda says, glad you made it, too, Jordan. Mr. P says, sup, brother? Jordan says, hey, John, what's up, brother? I read that one. Glad you finally made it, too. Mr. P says, nothing much, having a good old time. Going to migrate south. Dead serious about that. How about you, man? Amanda says, it's going to be a late night for us. It's going to take him 2 hours to calm down. George Scott Mills says, Zelensky is a Jew and not the good kind. There's a good kind? Well, I'm sorry. Jordan says, I have literally, dozens of alarms on my phone. It's a problem. I do too. Lots of them. It goes off every 30 minutes in the morning and every 30 minutes in the afternoon because I got to sleep, I got to eat, I got to do the podcast, I got to work, I got to do the band thing, I got this, I got that. Amanda says, LOL, I will totally change my Scooby-Doo tonight to something else annoying. I know. Jordan says, if Russia and Ukraine literally turned into an ocean tomorrow with their entire population turned into fish, Americans wouldn't know it happened. Literally, like, please get that, people. I hear you, Jordan. Amanda says, damn, Jordan. Kevin says, night. Well, fine, Kev. I'll see how you are. Mr. P says, I would, but if they were fish, Jordan, they'd be more useful, as is the case with most of these plebs on this planet. Kevin says, or Amanda says, good night, Kevin. Mr. P says, good night, Kevin. Wavy hand. Randy Humphrey says, even though Trump cares about our country, he does care about the lives lost. I understand, and so do I. Mr. P says the punk rock came from Germany, Jake. I know. It's one of those weird moments in history. Sex Pistols and all that. I liked it, though. It was interesting. Just don't know what it was all about. Jordan says, the What's New Scooby-Doo theme came by Simple Plan is the best Scooby-Doo intro ever. I will fight and die a glorious and valorous death upon that hill. Come at me, bro. Well, I like the old Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We got to have some fun now. You don't hear that anymore. Mr. P says, titties start wars too, Jake. Helen of Troy. Also true. Good point. Batshit Crazy says, peace, 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 peace. Thank you, Bat. Jordan says, Troy was unfortunately probably not historic, but correct me if I'm wrong. You're wrong. Jordan, Troy absolutely existed. They have found it. It is there. It was not hyperbole. They didn't make shit up in the old days. They wrote things down to remember them. We didn't start inventing stuff until Greece. That's when tragedy and comedy became an idea, and we started making up stories. The old days, when they wrote things down, it was so that it would be known. So it's in our interest to believe them when they said stuff. They may not have had all the information or thought that things were things that they were other things, but they did write down things that did happen. I'll give you an example. Minoan society had the Minotaur, which was a bull, half man, half bull beast that lived in the catacombs where they had a maze and they would send you in there to your death. I don't know what that was, but they called it a half bull, half man. I don't know. Maybe it was a big dude with a bull head on. I don't know, but that existed. We found the catacombs and the maze on Manoa, where all the bull iconography is. Something happened. Why not believe them? I don't think it was a half bull, half man, but it was something. Might have been a retarded bull. Who knows? You know those ancient bulls, the ones that we get our bull, the long horns from, the ancient ones, the ones with the really long horns, I can't remember what they're called. They were maniacal. They would attack you and kill you. True story. Look it up. Jordan says, Russia and China stole nuclear tech from us. So did the British and the French. Though, mind you, this is true, but we also sold a bunch of it to them. Everybody didn't steal nuclear technology, but everybody has it. So how did they get it? Because we sold it to them. Mr. P says, he said butt hurt. So I put a peach in the emoji for hurt. Oh, I got it. That makes sense now. Thank you. Mr. P says, smiley face, and Amanda says, I like when he is arguing with chat. Not when his chat jumps, though. Hold on. Hang on. I'll find it. Good gracious. It grew again. Good gracious, where is it? I'm never going to get to the bottom. You guys got to stop talking or I'm going to have to go. It's at midnight. I got to leave. I like it when he is arguing with the chat because he's too tired to argue with anything else and gets his arguing out. I do like to argue. Mr. P says, ha, ha, ha. Jordan says, anyone notice Zelensky literally called Vance a bitch in Ukrainian during the spat? Sure as F didn't. He literally did. Mr. P says, I never did, Jordan. They say a lot of things, man. We don't need to see any evidence, apparently. But we need to see evidence. I heard him say something. I don't speak Ukrainian, so I can't vouch for what it meant, but he said something. And Jordan says, the Han Chinese ethnically doesn't even exist, bro. Okay? It's like saying all Europeans are a single ethnicity. It's BS. Even today, you can tell the difference between the Southerners and the Northerners and more. I never said anything like that, so I don't know what you're referring to. Amanda says, yeah, I did, Jordan. Mr. P says, it's okay. Doesn't make me any less Republican. I bleed red. Red for Republican. Right on. George Scott Mill says, I bleed American. I bleed the nation, blood and soil. I just bleed a lot. It's weird. Mr. P says, Vance is insignificant anyway. I don't see why it's some huge slap in the face. If he did call him a bitch, he's Trump's bitch regardless. Well. When you're in the Oval Office, you have to respect the Oval Office. You don't get invited to the White House unless you're there to show respect. That's the reason for going there. It's called diplomacy. He wasn't wearing a suit. He wasn't respectful. He was argumentative. He didn't do what they came there to do. So, yeah, that's the reason. And also, J.D. Vance is probably going to be our next president, so I'd look into that one. And he's not Trump's bitch. He's Trump's vice president. If Trump treats him like a bitch, he needs to stand up to him. Mr. P says, I almost made the joke. I want to go to bed, but I'm largely responsible for this mess, and it's not fair to leave Jake to clean it up alone. I have principles. I appreciate that, buddy. I do. But you don't have to suffer this. I brought this on myself, and I do appreciate you standing by my side, even though we're the ones doing the arguing, but it's not a mess. That's the point of the show, is for us to talk about things and get it out in the clear so other people can learn more. That's the whole reason. You're doing fine. Don't worry about that. Patty says, Mr. P, do you actually live in the USA? I think he does. Amanda says, LOL, right, Patty? Jordan says, welfare should be community and church level. Get the government out. I agree with that. If the community and church would take care of its own, that would be wonderful. Mr. P says, I do, Patty. I don't know why you'd ever say something so offensive. I think it was just a question. I'm not sure. Vance is a military man and worked his ass off for this country, says Amanda. I agree with that. Vance is a Marine, says Patty. Got it? Amanda says, and Vance is probably going to run for president in 2028. I agree with that, too. Mr. P says, my point is Vance is meant to be in the wings, not in the spotlight. The leaders needed to be heard. Vance there for a soundbite. Well, no, not exactly. I'll explain that to you if you want to know. You see, Trump was intending to be president for 8 years, and he got cut in half. And then Biden was here for 4 years and destroyed the country. So when Trump was planning his takeover, he not only took over the RNC, Laura Trump now runs that. He not only took over the Republican Party, he took over Republicans, right? He created this thing called the MAGA movement, which is Make America Great Again or America First movement. Well, Trump can only run this time. He can't be president after this. You understand? So he's got to build his legacy in 4 years to last the next 20 years, or the MAGA movement dies at the end of this term. So what he has done is systematically put people in power positions all the way across the board so that when he's done in 4 years, the next person to step up and become president will be a MAGA president, and the one after that, and the one after that, and the Congress and the Senate and all the people that work in the deep state and everywhere else you can find government officials have MAGA placed in it. Trump is grooming J.D. Vance to run for president in 2028. That's why he's there. He's learning how to do the job of president. That's the answer. Jordan says, unironically, I literally do not care if or who or when or what or where or if he drank or if he didn't. Sorry, ladies. I care about how he conducts himself as the Commander-in-Chief of America. What are you talking about? Are you talking about the P-tape? It's not true. Patty says, Commander sounds great for our leader. I agree. Commander. Mr. P says, could be, Amanda. We can worry about that then. You forget I also voted for Vance. Just saying, the other nation's vice presidents weren't there. That's all. Well, we're America and we're special, and we got a vice president who wants to be seen, so good on him. Amanda says, too many people in this world get butthurt when people speak their minds anymore. Sad. It's true. Aaron says, thank you for your time tonight, Untethered Live family. Aaron, God bless you, and thank you for your time. We had a great time tonight, I think. Amanda says, good night, Aaron. Mr. P says, Jordan did not vote for Trump. Or didn't you vote for Trump? ? I thought you did, if you don't mind my asking. Jordan says, the Soviet Union was the best with the crazies, TBH, to be honest. You don't do drugs? Clearly, you're insane. You prefer to be homeless? Lunatic, gay, bi, trans? Go turn big rocks into little rocks in Siberia. Hey, if it worked for them, I'm just saying. Aaron says, I'm not leaving yet. Right on. Amanda says, that's because Trump and Vance vowed to be open, accessible, and there for the American people, i.e. us. Agreed. That's why he's there, and that's why he's verbal. The whole point of this administration is to be transparent so that everybody can see what's going on. See, the thing about the Zelensky meeting is that kind of shit happens all the time in Washington. We don't get to see it because it's behind closed doors. This is the first time that kind of meeting has happened in front of cameras. Believe me, Biden was having heated arguments with Zelensky too. So is every other world leader in different administrations. We're just not usually privy to it. See, something is happening to politics that never was before. It is becoming a visual sport. We're beginning to get into the White House to see how the sausage is made. That's not something we ever could do before. 15 years ago, none of us knew who anybody in Congress was. We didn't know their names. We didn't know where they were from. We didn't know what they were doing. And now we know them by first name basis. And we know every one of them that's good and bad on both sides for both whatever. That's because of media. It's infiltrated the political system, and we're able to see more of what's happening than we ever have before. The fact that Trump is being transparent is amazing. I wish we could have more of that. Mr. P says, Dems get butt hurt often. Yes, they do. Amanda says, oh, my bad. You're welcome then. LOL. Jordan says, Mr. P, democracy is a false god, which I don't partake in the worship of, Mr. P. However, yes, I do support Trump, and morally, would have voted for him, but you didn't vote for him. Okay, but he's president anyway, so it doesn't matter. Amanda says, right, Mr. P. And Mr. P says, hey, Aaron, you're always welcome, brother. Right on. Aaron says, Mr. P, you're a legend, sir. Definitely. George says, Mr. P, my point is, I don't care if the piss dossier is true 100%. How does he do it as president? I agree. It shouldn't matter, but it does, because looks is everything. You don't buy a car because it runs good. You buy it because it's shiny and pretty and it catches your eye. Simple. But it isn't true. It was a fake dossier. That's been proven over and over and over and over again. They made it up. Mr. P says, thanks, brother. I'm sure you're legendary as well. And I appreciate that, brother. Jordan says, the moon landing happened. You can personally shoot lasers to the laser reflector plate We have left on the moon, Jake. I've seen it done. The Lord's children prevail over the entirety of this carnal kingdom. Dookie dookie. I'll let you decide why that's silly as an argument. I won't poke holes in it for you. I'm tired and I don't have time, but trust me, there's holes. Look for them. Tell me what you come up with. That's a good homework assignment. Mr. P says, okay, Jordan, I get you on that. True. Right on. Jordan says, I came to Trump for the Mexicans, and I stayed for the tariffs, basically. Aaron says, he is cool with Canada now. Is he cool with Canada now? No. No, he's called Trudeau the governor of Canada, which is a slap. He's the prime minister. Or was. He stepped down. He just hadn't left yet. Mr. P says, same, Jake. He was and still is the only option either party put forward in the past 15 years. I agree. Amanda says, yes, Aaron. And Aaron says, good. They got pretty girls there. Right on. Amanda says, just look up doge.gov and get all the info you need right there. That's to whoever asked for details and numbers for making America great again. Doge.gov. Go look for yourself. There they are. Numbers and data. Dana says, I think Biden was the worst president in the history of the United States of America. This will be his legacy in the history books for the next generations. I totally agree with that 100%. He certainly was the worst president ever. He makes Carter look like a good president. Amanda says, absolutely, Dana. Mr. P says, hey, Jordan, you don't got to agree with all his points. Trump, number one, period. Right on. And Jordan says, and Jake, I just checked with Pocket Egghead, ChatGPT 4.5, and yes, young DJ and Elvis are the only two honorary Secret Service agents. Cool. That's fantastic. Thank you for checking that out, Jordan. I appreciate it. Aaron said, Jake said that. Right on. Mr. P said he was checking for me because I wasn't sure. I think that's the case. Mr. P says, Biden is sad, honestly. He had no business even being president. He was pushed forward and puppeted by Democrats. An infirm old man, nothing more. Right. They should be ashamed of the way they treated that guy. Jordan says, Mr. P, yeah, I hate his Israel dick sucking, but you gotta take the wins where you can. Why would you call it that? Israel has always been an ally of the United States. We've been hand in hand since day one. Why would you call it that? Somebody's been watching the news. Mr. P says, I don't think Biden was evil, just an idiot. Right. No, the people that ran Biden were evil. Although, did you catch that address to the America that he did with the big red background and the low lit from the bottom and the camera pointing up at him? It looked pretty dictatorial to me. Pretty evil. Somebody approved that meeting. Aaron says, yes, he did, and I can confirm it. Amanda says, you have to be aware to be held responsible. You have to be aware to be held responsible, honestly. True. You have to know what you're doing. Jordan says, untrue, Amanda. You can be made aware upon trial. That's cool with me. Mr. P says, yes, my point exactly, Amanda. Biden was an empty vessel, or an empty suit. Right on. Mr. P says, the Dems party kept on lying as his mental capacity failed. Right. Aaron says, right on, Jordan. Amanda says, Jordan, someone who is incapable of being aware of things cannot be held responsible even in court of law. Very true. She's got you on that one. George says, nah, that's literally the black people can't get IDs argument. Absolutely not. If you did bad, you deserve punishment, dementia or not. I get drunk. I don't act like a fool. You are what you are. True, but there's a thing called an insanity plea, which means you are not capable of being held responsible. And if you think that's not true, just look at why they didn't prosecute Joe Biden. because he was unfit to stand trial, because he was a doddering old fool. That's why he's not going to prison for all the stuff that went on, all the quid pro quo and the Burisma stuff, and his son, Hunter Biden, all the pardons that he put out, preemptive pardons that were for people that hadn't technically been accused of a crime yet, things like that. The reason he's not in prison is because he couldn't stand trial, because he doesn't remember what he did, because he is senile. That's called an insanity plea, and it works. That keeps you from going to prison. So you are incorrect, as bad as you want it to be. And black people can't get IDs. Who said anything about that? That's a Democrat arguing point, that black people can't find their way to get an ID when most black people in America have an ID. That's insulting to black people, and I never made any such an argument as that. There are black people here tonight. That's an insulting insinuation there, so watch that shit. I'm not about that kind of thing. Jordan says, and Biden was a monster and deserves to be treated as such, but he won't be because he is insane. You're right. He deserves it, but he's not going to get it. So I think the point you're making is they should be held accountable whether they know what they did or not. But that's not the law. The law is that if they can't stand trial, they don't get tried. At least if you're a Democrat and in high power status. What does that mean, Jordan? Says Aaron. I fixed that one, Aaron. Leave it alone. Danny says, Hitler made it all the way to Russia and Stalingrad. Today, Volgograd, with his army and no further, the Russians kicked his ass and drove them back. It was a bloody battle, Mr. Pro. Hitler did not stop in Poland. Correct. And by the way, the reason Hitler didn't take Russia is because they salted the grounds. There was nothing of value there for them to take. So they had to turn and go back. Yeah, I don't know if they kicked their asses or not. I think it was a bloody battle to the bitter end. I'm not sure who won on that front, but part of that deal was salting the ground. But no Poland. And Amanda says, WTF are you talking about, Jordan? And don't go racist in here. Right on. I solved that problem. Leave it alone. Jordan says, it means people have more agency than they are accredited for, but accreditation is how the country works. So legally, she's correct. Jordan says, Amanda, do tell. Where did I get racist? Black people can't get IDs? I think that was misinterpreted. I don't think you meant it that way, which is why I'm buffeting off the responses. I think you meant that's a dumb argument, like that's a dumb argument, but it's a different thing. But I'm not about that at all. Aaron says, Jordan, you barking up my black tree. State your business kindly. Nah, leave it alone. It's fine. He didn't mean it that way. Mr. P says, I'm well aware, Dana. I know all about Stalingrad, also about more Russian lives lost than all other countries combined. Well, aware, sweetheart. Mr. P says, message retracted. Jordan says, I'm saying that Democrats say black people can't get IDs to vote, essentially by saying that voter ID is racist. I'm saying give people agency. Okay. That makes more sense than the way it was stated before. And it's a dumb argument about the black people thing, but they do make that argument, and it is wrong, because just about every black person I've ever met not only has an ID, but knows how to use a computer and can get to the DMV. So that's silly that anybody would ever think anything like that. Amanda says, your black people can't get IDs comment, Jordan. Again, it's fine. Yeah, I don't think he meant it the way it came off. Monkey Juice says, good night, Amanda and Jake. Always a pleasure. Monkey Juice, thank you for being here. Thanks for your contribution to the argument. I appreciate you very much. George says, including Biden. And Dana says, thumbs up. And Amanda says, good night, Monkey. And Mr. P says, keyboard did something weird. 20 million Russians lives plus. And Aaron says, I see, Jordan. Are you saying it's the name of the system? Are you saying it's the name of the system? I think what he was saying is that it's a silly argument, and what he thought she was saying was a silly argument, as silly as that argument is silly. I don't think it came off the way he intended it to come off. He was not trying to be racist. It was racist, but he didn't mean it that way. So I hope we can get past that. Jordan says, Amanda, unironically, just shame on you, frankly, was literally engaged to an Ethiopian until recently. So yeah, IDK. No, it's not Amanda's fault. She took it the same way I took it. I had to think about it too. And when you cleared it up, spelled it out, it made more sense. It was nobody's fault. They read that the wrong way in context with the conversation. And sometimes that happens in chat. That's why I'm buffeting off the advances, because I understand you didn't mean it that way. And they understand it too. And we're 20 minutes behind, so let it go. Amanda says, you said it, not me. But again, let it go. Mr. P says, Russia threw bodies at World War II, females included, First Nation to do so on that level. It's wrong when they did it. It's wrong when we do it. We shouldn't be putting women on the front lines. George Scott Mill says, yeah, not actually. I quoted Democrats, Amanda. Go ahead and go to my original comment. Your original comment sounded racist. Your second comment cleared it up. I made it to the end. Yay. I ain't got there yet. Mr. P says, yay, haha. George Scott Mill says, not trying to start shit, but I stand on business, Amanda, and I make black babies morally, not kill them. Okay. Amanda says, LOL, Aaron, he's trying for sure. Aaron says, I see. And Mr. P says, yay, Aaron. George Scott Mill says, but I get it, because I'm literally a fascist and a Nazi, etc. So I'll give you a pass, Amanda, but hope you'd give me a tad more credit. Nobody said you were a Nazi or a fascist. Batshit Crazy says, what's up? Though you thought you left, I'm still working on getting to the bottom there, Batshit Crazy. Mr. P says, Greeks like me invented democracy and the theater. Yes. Yes, they did. And before that, they wrote shit down that they meant. Amanda says, well, if I read it wrong, then it's my bad. And Patty says, it was fun. Thank you all for the social interaction. It keeps me hanging on. We love you, Patty. Please do keep hanging on. We need you here. God bless you. Shit, it did it again. Minoans were filthy rich until an earthquake caused a tsunami to end all tsunamis and erase their entire culture, says Mr. P. Aaron says, minuscule means what? Tiny. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Minuscule. Tiny, 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 tiny. Amanda says, tiny, Aaron. Batshit Crazy says, given time, formerly exotic information, and no longer is like helicopter. Right on. I don't know what that means. They still find the family stones they used to buy and sell things in Minoa culture, and they had a mark like a signet ring used in feudal Europe. Right on. Aaron says, good night at midnight. Thanks for everything. I'm working on it. I'm getting there. I'm 20 minutes past time I said I was going to quit, but I'm almost at the bottom. I love you. Amanda says, good night, Aaron. And Mr. P says, last comment. Much love, y'all. Sorry for taking so much time up. Done out of love. Breaking up. Excuse me. I found a bone in that statement. Mr. P, you're always welcome. Don't you worry about that a bit. That's just drama for the show, and it's over. So we love you. Aaron says, thank you for your work on the show with Jake Amanda. Thank you, Aaron. God bless you. Amanda says, good night, Mr. P, and good night, Aaron. You're welcome always. Mr. P says, thanks for the explanation, Jake. Good point. Vance is next. Thanks for all you do, brother. My pleasure, my friend. Reaver Chiefer says, did Judea declare war on Germany? No. And welcome to the show, Reefers Chiefers. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you, where you're from, what you want to talk about. And Amanda says, hi, Reefers Chiefers. Welcome. Mr. P says, I almost mentioned that he took most of the European continent. I don't know what she meant by that. That there was no Poland involved, then or now. Poland is not a desirable place to take over. Welcome to the show, Reefers Chiefers, and thank you for subscribing. God bless you, sir. Or ma'am, whomever you are. Tell us who you are so I know. And Amanda says, thanks for the sub, Reefers Chiefers. And Mr. P says, glad you're here, Reefers Chiefers. Good choice. I hope you love the Bible. We have a great Bible study on Sundays and Monday nights. Sunday at 8 p.m. and Monday at 8:30. Various other topics, other nights. We're off Tuesdays and Thursdays. Right on. Thank you, John. Mr. P says, my YouTube name used to be Reefer Madness after the old movie that played in schools. I've seen that movie. Amanda says, woohoo, bottom of the chat. I made it. Mr. P says, I can't believe I hung in there this long. I still feel bad. Don't feel bad. Jake, and you could have been sleeping by now. True. Amanda says, good night. I'll see you Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Untethered Live for some chill stream. Many hearts. And Aaron says, YouTube, this guy's the number one. Thank you. I read that. Dana says, blessings and love to all. Thank you all. I enjoyed the debate tonight, spirited as it may have been. I love each and every one of you. Please do not get angry. This is just a debate. It's just for fun. It's just to air ideas. That's it. So everybody gets smarter. I love you all. I'll see you Friday. Have a great night. God bless you. And thanks for watching.